Well, hello, everybody.
Oh man,
Wow.
I can't,
Whoa.
I can't.
What did you guys can't see the faces? I tried to warn Max and Purple. I said I changed some of the deepfakes this weekend, and everybody, Purple just went dead silent. She's like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "Well, it'll be tasteful." And meanwhile, I'm getting a hit in our private chat going, "It's Slave Leia, isn't it? It's Purple. It's Slave Leia." I'm like, no. And then I just kept watching Max's grin get bigger and bigger and bigger as that went on. So, yeah.
Bravo.
Hail to everybody. Let's get the chat involved in this. Happy Tuesday. Gray, how are you doing? Thanks for coming back on the show. Tell us what's going on. What was the last comic that you just did a review on?
Oh, good morning from Japan. Hello, nice to be here. Salty, thank you for having me on. And I got to say, Purple was looking deadly in that intro. I'm blown away. I'm quite aroused as well, to be honest.
Oh, Jesus.
Last
Wow.
comic, sorry, the last comic was the brand new Batman Beyond the White Knight by Murphy, and it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. I will go around the horn, and because I want to smash the patriarchy, I will start with MVP. How are you doing? You had a great live stream last night.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a ton of people come out. It went a little bit longer than normal, but it was all thanks to everyone like just continually adding to the conversation in the chat. So it was super beneficial. I got to show off something that a lot of the people who donate to the channel, I promised them that it goes right back into the show, and I got to share with them a little bit of kind of where those donations go. So it was a really fun night. And Salty, I will always be your Sam. So you can, Mr. Corey, I guess I should call you, Master Corey.
Yeah, I really wanted to do one with all four of us, of the four main people, and for my deepfake app couldn't handle that many faces, so that's why I split it up with you and Purple, and then you and I. So speaking of Purple, Valkyrie, the woman who is everywhere, hitting all the right notes. Purple, how are you doing?
Hello, gentlemen. Doing well, thank you. Doing well, yes. Wasn't sure what we were going to talk about yesterday, but thank God Will Smith decided to intervene. So I've almost got the Will Smith jokes out of my system now. We're getting there.
I made some suggestions in the backstage, which I won't repeat live on the channel. But let's just say I was hoping for something closer to 28 days later, but that didn't happen. So speaking of Amanda Manethrin, here he is without his Hobbit pipe tonight. He's actually kind of rocking that Sherlock Holmes meets nice pipe meets Indiana Jones. How are you doing, Nathan?
I am living the dream. I can't say we're going to be beating WrestleMania from the other night, but it should be a close second.
I'm going to shout out some of our channel members. We have Al Dan. He was one of the ones, along with Amanda Manethrin and Resurrection 117, as well as Brahma Bull, that did these awesome Wheel of Time sort of man on the street interviews. And I said, come into my studio. I'm going to ask you questions. They had no idea what was coming at them, one by one. And I think that they're pretty darn good. The views on them seem pretty good. So hail to you, Al Dan. We're going to be doing that more with Wheel of Time, with more channel members and other people as well. I just want to shout out, we've got Jaden Hamilton, Al Dan in the chat. We've got Ruvel Arveda. There's my wolf brother, wolf sister. We have Thunder Sensei 150 says, hello, all you happy people. Well, hello to you. We have Paul Wolfley is in the chat. We have Zaxx, who would rather go to Kentucky Fried Chicken than hang out on the show tonight. I hope you're having fun in British Columbia, you non-fret. We miss you. It's true. I'm doing triple duty on this one, so I'm doing the best that I can. And I believe we have David Austin saying hello to you, Gray. And let's see, I think I've covered. And Punk Waddle, the mod with the most, is going to need you a lot tonight, brother. Hail to you. So did I miss? No, I didn't miss anybody. Let's get right into this. The first thing I saw today after I said, you know what? I finalized my tear sheet. There's nothing going on in the world. I don't want to talk about this Will Smith nonsense. Was that a new poster came out for a movie that I have been so excited about for a long time. And that, of course, would be The Northman. Have you all seen this? And what is your thoughts on this movie? Let's go ahead and let's start with Nathan. What's your feelings on The Northman? And you're muted, brother.
My bad. This is the first I've seen it, and I watched the trailer, and wow, it looks so daggone good. I might actually shell out some movie theater bucks for this.
What about you, Go ahead, Max. Let's just go ahead, Max.
Oh no, I was gonna say those are for people to go to the theater, that means a lot at this point in time, with people just being able to watch it at home. But go ahead. I want to get Purple's take on this, especially being a Valkyrie herself.
Absolutely.
I love this poster. This is so much better than the first one that they had. I've been keeping a really close eye on this film. You've heard me talk about it before. Big fan of the director. I think he does great work. So I've got really high hopes for this film. And from what I've seen and for what they've talked about, this is going to be a great film. It's going to be R-rated. It's got strong bloody violence, a little bit of nudity apparently as well. So
Love it.
April 22nd can't roll around quick enough for me.
What about you, Gray? Oh wait, did I
ears...
say hello? I said hello to you. Never mind. Go ahead, Gray.
Yeah, of course. My ears just pricked up at the was it the nudity? You just I've forgotten what that is. That doesn't exist anymore, does it, in modern movies?
Right.
Is that right? Yeah, this is looking
Not the good kind.
Great looking cast. That, of course, is awesome. I've seen the trailer. I'm excited for it. I want to see a really good, violent, R-rated, exciting movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think that's what we're going to get. And as you say, it's got a fantastic cast. We've got Alexander Skarsgård looking incredible. He is in fantastic shape. We've got Willem Dafoe. I don't think there's anybody on the planet who doesn't like Willem Dafoe. We've got Bjork in there. We've got Ethan Hawke is in there. Nicole Kidman, Anya Taylor-Joy, who's a great actress. So looking forward to this.
I was surprised to see Ethan Hawke. I mean, that's definitely a Gen X actor, right there. I mean, I just remember him as kind of a 90s heartthrob, and of course was married to Uma Thurman for quite a while. And they, of course, had a daughter who's actually in the Stranger Things, the last season and now the next one coming up. But, does anybody know the backstory while I go ahead and play some of this in a way that doesn't get my channel hit? Does anybody know what this is about? I mean, just look at this. Look at the atmospherics in this. This just looks incredible.
Yes, from what I can tell, it is. I don't think it's based on any particular historical figure, but it is obviously based very heavily on Norse, what it was like to be alive around that time. So he's really done his homework and what it would have been like to have been a Viking.
Wow.
The social structure, what it would be like to fight, how families were developed. He's really kind of gone into that, and that's the one thing he does with his films. He really does seem to do a lot of research.
Wow.
May I ask who's directing?
This is Robert Eggers. So if you've seen either The Witch or The Lighthouse, two great films, he does really good indie films.
So yeah, this is going to be super artsy. I have a feeling. Like this is going to be very maybe not stylized, but like there's some clips in this in the trailer where it's like very like almost like acid trip like, where you're seeing like Odin and you're seeing one of the Valkyries. It looks very like these moments where you're kind of getting into more of that Norse pagan religion of them taking these hallucinogenics to see their gods and stuff. So he's going to do some wild stuff, I feel like, with those progressions and in the scenes. But yeah, I mean, all these characters look like they were ripped straight from that time period, which is great.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
And the way that the sea is so prominent in the film, which, you know, of course, considering what the Viking culture was and how important that was as a means of, you know, pillaging, and then also, as we know, commerce, you know, and not to mention sustenance. It's just wonderful to see. Having lived on the Pacific for quite a bit, I can tell you that's what it looks like in the winter, and just it's wonderful to see the sea adequately represented. I don't know. What about you, Purple? How is it in England? It's always sunny there, right? I mean, you guys blue skies all the
Absolutely,
time.
yeah. We never have bad weather. No, but that's exactly what the sea looked like in Iceland. You know, it was angry.
God, this just looks amazing, you guys. Seriously.
It does.
Oh, great. What's your take on this? Have you? Oh, wow! Look at that. Is this something that's in your wheelhouse that you want to go see? I guess what's your feeling on it?
I'm excited, especially if they go into the mythology of it, or the North myths. That'd be great to see that. And we're talking about the kind of the shaman or the dream sequences, or like the psychedelics. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that side of it, as well as the nudity.
Wow, Gray, what has you been eating your grape nuts this look at that. Man goes out karaoke and he turns into a frat boy. This just looks amazing.
Oh my god, there she is.
Look at this. Oh, there we go. There's some shaman action. I'm excited about this. I mean, I haven't been, you know, I went to go see Batman because I thought I had to. And I'm glad I saw it, but like we've all said, and I'll say it again, for me, that movie could have been cut by 30 to, you know, 35%, and it would have been a masterpiece. But that's not what we got. This, look at this. They're riding with wolf skins on. This just looks incredible. You know, something else I'm not seeing with this, and you guys tell me, I don't know how to say this, but it doesn't look like there was forced representation in a Viking time. Oh, here's some of that
Great
tricky
shot.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yes, they seem to be much, shall we say, truer to what would have been around at the time. No forced diversity.
Does she have braces?
It's a
does look
grill.
like that,
That's a
huh?
grill.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll edit that in post.
Oh my god.
It's,
that yeah.
There's a part of me that thinks that this is going to be a slow burn that is filled with moments of action. Because, like, when I remember watching The Lighthouse, there were moments where he just sits on a scene with these two men, and he just sits there and lets you really just feel the weight of the atmosphere of the scene. It's not quick cuts and stuff. So I know there are going to be people who come out and watch this film, and they're going to go, oh, it was boring. It was so boring. It was too artsy, or it was like there wasn't any action. And I don't know if that's necessarily what this film is going to be meant to be. I could totally eat my crow later and you know, or my raven, if you will, my Nordic raven. But
Raven.
and this could be like the next Gladiator, you know. But the great thing about this is, when was the last time that we did see a Braveheart or a Gladiator or a
Too long.
The Last Kingdom, or, you know, something like that, or not Last Kingdom. What was the
like
one with the
historical epic? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. We just haven't gotten that. And so I think this may be bringing that genre back into the fold. Who knows?
I'm so glad you didn't say Braveheart.
Oh, I thought I did say Braveheart. Did I not say Braveheart?
No. If you did, I must have blanked it out.
Oh, okay.
Aside from the historical accuracy, you know, it did have some great cinematics.
Yes,
Oh yes,
that is true. That is true.
Yeah, it was definitely a Hollywood adaptation, if you will. You know, I did enjoy. You know, as much as I am not a fan of Netflix, their depiction with William Wallace.
Yes.
Or excuse me, Robert the
no,
Bruce.
Robert the Bruce.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In and I'm blanking on the name of that film, Outlaw King. Outlaw
Oh,
King
yeah.
was fantastic in my
Really
opinion.
good
I
movie.
thought it was really well done. So, and that felt much more historically accurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cinematic for Braveheart for sure.
Yeah. But when I'm looking at this trailer, this is how you do a trailer, Amazon.
Mm.
yeah.
Put in these big, epic, sweeping shots. You can sit there and come into proper focus on character, give actual tidbits of what the movie's going to be about while not revealing
Wow.
not revealing anything, but give you an idea that there's going to be a story movement. There's definitive evil defined and good defined right off the bat. You've got it all right there in front of you. This trailer hits all the bells for anybody who wants a good, gritty action flick that is based in history.
Wow.
That's a great point. I mean, within what? How long is this trailer, Salty? Like 2 minutes?
2 minutes and 43 seconds. Probably the title takes up maybe 15 of that, but yeah.
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 So in less than 3 minutes, we get our protagonist, our antagonist, the plot, and our supporting characters. Like you were saying, Nathan, you get it all, and you get some more
That
even still.
shot.
Like, yeah, right. But it
Jesus
seems like
good.
it's going to be a pretty simple story. Like it seems like it's just going to be a revenge story, right? I mean, that's what I get from this, and that might be just how great. Like, because really, if this is going to be more of an art film or more of a study of Viking culture, they don't need a convoluted plot of, oh well, this
Bingo.
guy's going to backstab this guy or this, different. Like it could be, it's just going to be Alexander Skarsgård just trying to get revenge. Like that's really all it might be, which is going to be cool. So we'll see.
We have shots fired from the most flaccid phoenix in the world, who says Braveheart is better than every other movie. That's why you haven't been back on the show, Flaccid. So just saying. No, this looks amazing, and Paul Wolfley's dropping the knowledge. Check this out. Gladiator came out 22 years ago. I mean, what have we gotten since then? 300? Just in scope and scale of a true epic like this. I mean, we got Vikings, which like I liked the first season or two. I really did, but something like this, to be able to see it on the big screen, I'm really excited about this. It's the first movie I think I've been excited to go see in quite a while. And look at this cast. I don't even mind that Nicole Kidman is in this, and I don't like Nicole Kidman. So.
Really?
Gee, I wonder why you like her, Gray. Just say it. So,
Guys, I just wanted to ask: have any of you watched The Last Kingdom, that series? Because I've heard that's supposed to be very good, and the books that it's based on are excellent.
I've started it. I haven't finished it, but it is excellent
Me
from
too.
what I've seen so far.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to check that out. Thanks.
I'd love to see what Shadiversity comes out and says about this.
Drink.
Everyone drink. Cheers. But yeah, like Shad has some great breakdowns. He even broke down Vikings, which is one of my favorite shows ever, and totally put me to shame. And was like, this is how historically inaccurate this is, and these fights and this clothing and all the type of stuff like that. So I can't wait to see what Shad says about Northmen.
we have Sam McCabe, who I intend to get Sam and Nick McCabe on this show. Why? Because two twin brother McCabes are better than just one McCabe. It's going to be a surreal experience. So hail to you, Sam. We're working on scheduling. We really are.
Isn't that like Superman and Clark Kent, though? One's there and the other one's conveniently not there.
Well, as long as it's not Bruce Wayne and Batman, I mean, I don't know. All I'm saying is, if you look at what they've done with Superman, or what they call Superman lately, I don't know. Maybe there's a they Superman and there's a them Superman. So we've got the chat dropping this. This comes from David Austin. He says, we got Two Towers and Return of the King since Gladiator. Very good point. 2001, 2002, 2003. Very, very accurate.
Yes.
And look at this. Go ahead, Purple.
I was going to say, I would class those as fantasy epics, though, rather than historical epics, but absolutely fantastic films, definitely.
Yep. And Paul Wolfley says 300 came out in 2007. So that's only 14, 15 years ago. My math isn't very good.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
yeah. No, I'm really excited about this. I really am. So what do we got here? Okay, that popped up. So let's go ahead. I think we've got 5 votes up. Very excited about this movie. Chat seems excited about this movie. I can't wait to see this. I really can't. It's just, it is a very, and you guys jump in on this. It's a rarity to see something like a movie and just from the first tease of it, you're like, you lean forward and you put, you put your hands on your knees and you go, is this really what it looks like? And then to get an actual trailer and it doesn't look like there's a bait and switch. And it doesn't look like, oh, there's the other characters that look like they were there because they had to be there from some corporate mandate that don't belong there historically. They're tucked in there for like, 1/4 of a second, or the entire, like, in my opinion, like we saw with Kenobi, where Kenobi's entire trailer is not about Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's about an entirely different character, which we don't know about. I don't know. That's what excites me about this, and that I think that's going to be true. So, anything anybody wants to say in closing on that?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I like I said, I really like the previous films that he's done. So he's got a really good kind of track record, and he's one of those directors that really doesn't kind of follow a trend. He just does the films that he wants to make, and I think that's really rare at the moment. So good for him.
The Witch was crazy, wasn't it? Did you see The Witch? Especially the ending.
I did.
That was so weird and strange. But I liked the atmosphere, and that I think I'm looking forward to about this. As well as the obvious action and nudity. The atmosphere is going to be so good.
Gray, what's going on? Did somebody turn that CERN collider on again and we jump to yet another timeline where I'm getting like, alternate Kirk, I'm getting alternate Gray here? I mean, this is I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's different. So speaking of
Gray's
bad,
going to go to the movie
ahead.
with a bucket full of ice.
So I'm just hoping it's one of the ladies that does the nude scenes now for Gray, and it's not Willem Dafoe.
Oh no, I'm fair. I don't mind. I don't mind either. Either's fine. I don't mind.
Speaking of someone I don't want nude seeds from, Jodie Whittaker.
What a segue.
No.
And I'm not even
Smoothest one
drinking
yet.
tonight. This is just as respectful and direct as I can be because I take pride in this channel. Speaking of Jodie Whittaker, the long international nightmare is almost over. Will it be replaced by another nightmare? I don't know. I think you got even money on that. But this article comes to us from Cosmic Book News, and this is the fact that on April 15th, what they like to call Jodie Whittaker's I can't even say this without laughing. Penultimate episode before she regenerates into a new Time Lord will air. Doctor Who Legend of the Sea Devils. And they're going to air it on Easter Sunday. What can you say about the prototype way to alienate a fandom, to completely destroy almost 60 years worth of fan love, episodes, character development, writing, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of fans across the globe of different races, cultures, creeds, all loved Doctor Who. And then came along Jodie Whittaker. Gray, what's your take on this? I don't think you and I have ever talked about Doctor Who.
No, I'm a huge fan. Like you, Salty, my doctor was Tom Baker when I was a child, so he's my favourite. But I've watched it for years, and when Jodie took over, I gave her a fair chance. I thought, okay, this could be really good. Let's see how it goes. And I stopped watching after the third episode of her first season. I just couldn't take it. It was terribly written. It was terribly terribly acted. They lost the whole eye of the character, not because of the gender swap, but I think they just didn't know what they were doing. Doctor's supposed to be alien, and she was playing it like, a stupid northern woman. All right, how you doing, everyone? I'm the doctor. Just like that. So
I'm going to shout out Brightest Day is in the chat. Hail to you, brother. He is the millionaire matchmaker. He's the one who introduced Gray and Max, that got them doing their comic work together. He is also the very first guest I had on a live stream when I first started out. And it only took me begging and twisting his arm to come on and watch a show that he never wanted to watch, absolutely hated. But I wanted to get the perspective of someone who wasn't a reader of Robert Jordan, just to look at the Wheel of Time as a TV show. So for the millionth time, and again, from the bottom of my heart, Brightest Day, you are a very good dude. Hail to you, Brightest Day.
Hail, bro. Love you, Bray. Love you, mate.
So, yeah. And Nathan, what's your perspective on Doctor Who? You and I don't spend a lot of time talking about Doctor Who on this channel because I can only flog, so many corpses of things that I love without, losing my mind. And I don't talk about Doctor Who.
Well, it's a good thing because that toxic masculinity would just get the best of you. I haven't cared about Doctor Who, and I got into it late, watched it with Tennant and Eccleston, Matt Smith, and then after that, when they brought in Capaldi, it seemed to go stale. The characters weren't as engaging, and so I kind of dropped it well before Jodie Whittaker got in there. And then when I saw she was going to be the new Doctor, I'm like, okay, I'm not going back.
I know that's when I dipped out too. Honestly, I really wanted Capaldi to be good, and then we come right out of Matt Smith, which was a brilliant run, and then we slam into the writing that it's just simply it wasn't the Doctor. I don't know what they were trying to do, but what they succeeded in doing is I think beginning the erosion of the fan base that was ultimately accelerated by the detonation that is the nuclear woke bomb that is Jodie Whittaker. So
well, and they stopped writing shows like they had those the stone witches that would always cover their eyes, and
the Angels.
That was the Angels, and that was some of the creepiest TV at the time that I had seen. I was like, holy cow, that's freaky, and I absolutely loved it. And those episodes, those kinds of episodes, the writing for that just disappeared, and I was just kind of like, okay, you're not engaging with good writing anymore, and so it's just not worth my time.
And the thing about the writing is it is so bad you have to try to be that bad. It is so juvenile and inane and filled with such obvious, it's insulting to the audience. And I don't care if you're a 7-year-old who's watching Doctor Who for the first time, or you're a 37-year-old, or you're 77 and you've watched it from the beginning. The writing is insulting. It is. Yeah. I mean, it's not Doctor Who. These stories are inane, and it's all just ham-fisting in woke talking points. Now, I don't watch a lot of BBC, Purple and Gray. I mean, is this consistent with other shows? Would it be science fiction? Would it be adventure? I mean, is this a universal thing that's present in all BBC television, or is it just especially pronounced with Chibnall's run of Doctor Who?
I'm sorry, you probably have to ask Purple, because I've been out of the country in almost 20 years now, so I've no idea. Okay. But as far as I know, the BBC has just gone, self-deleted.
Yes, it didn't used to be the case. The BBC used to be a bastion of, fantastic documentaries and dramas. We used to be known for fantastic television. I would say probably this era of Doctor Who is probably the best example of really bad writing. And I don't think anybody who is a genuine fan of Doctor Who, not a fan of Jodie as such, will be particularly sorry to see the back of her and of Chibnall.
Yeah, we will treat the back of her much like we do Brie Larson's feet. We will look away and try not to remember it once it's passed us by. So,
Oh my God.
hello to Eric K in the chat. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. You guys keep up. Come on, come on. I'm not even caffeinated. So, I want to say hello. I love it when I almost kill Purple. I love it
The
when she
longest
almost falls
time
out
I
of her
didn't
chair.
know what they looked like, and then somebody put a picture on Twitter. I blocked that person.
I've never seen him. I'm not tempted.
Don't.
Don't do
It's
it.
like The Ring. It's like that movie The Ring. Your head literally explodes, Nathan. Chat. I'm not even being hyperbolic. I'm really not. Paul Wolfley gets it right. He says the writing was from SJWs, from their self-centered moral view. That's why it
Yes.
feels weird to normal people. I think there's an element of truth in that.
Mhm.
I also think that there's probably a couple of 3-ring binders from the BBC that have everything spelled out in some Communist Party level of detail as far as to how things are going to go in the message.
Yeah.
But maybe
Mhm.
that's just me and my crazy Texas tinfoil hat.
No, that and your
So-
Marxist leftists college level writing courses that you have to take to get
Yes.
going with it.
Written in crayon. Yes.
Yes, the crayons that Max doesn't eat. Max will be back. He's
Yes.
Max is dealing with a channel issue right now, but don't worry, we haven't blocked him. He will come back. So everybody, don't worry about that. I hope nothing heavy has fallen on him. He'll get back to us. But
The
did you
mic.
guys? Yeah, did you guys see that thing with Joe Rogan today? Did you see that? Oh God, that's right. That boom mic probably trapped him somewhere. Somebody go to California and see if Max is okay. No, did you guys see that interview today with Joe Rogan where he was talking with somebody who had worked at Facebook and was all part of the Silicon Valley? And this guy was
No.
describing what it was like to be in these cultures, working with people.
I haven't, but I can
No.
imagine it's an absolute. It's like being in a cult. I would think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly the word, Purple, that they used.
What's it?
That the person who was at Facebook said, yes, every startup is a cult, and every startup since Facebook has been a cult. That's the only way that you can rationalize being treated that way and dehumanized. And people, he said the biggest problem they were having, and this was Joe Rogan talking, was he had a friend who was an executive working at Alphabet, which I think is evil, but whatever, and saying that the biggest problem they were having, they were getting the best and the brightest on paper, and they hired them, and they had no interest in actually doing their job at all. They had 99% of their time was spent being activists on work hours. So nothing was getting done. And you got to wonder, is that part of what we're seeing in entertainment? I think there's an element of that to that. But I've said this before, when all you have is a neo-Marxist intersectional feminist hammer, everything looks like a neo-Marxist intersectional feminist nail. And that's a damn shame, because I think there's a lot of things, Wheel of Time being on that list, Lord of the Rings of Power being on that list, and God knows Halo is on that list.
Yes, it is.
It's God, I'm just gonna ask, did anybody here watch Halo? I mean, because I sure didn't.
Nope.
I'm not gonna watch
I did.
Nope.
Yes.
Oh,
God
no
help me.
way.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Just out of curiosity, I was a big fan of the games. I used to play them quite a lot, and I thought, this has been in development hell for quite a long time. They've spent 10 million per episode, so let's see where this money got spent. Yeah, the CGI looks great in some scenes, looks absolutely horrific in others. Very, very all about the message. Not much about our hero, but there's lots of feelings, lots of women talking about feelings, and Master Chief takes his helmet off in the first episode.
Max, did you see any Halo at all?
I didn't. I did see a video from a famous Twitch gamer, and she did a video about it. And normally her takes are very like normie-ish, I guess you could say. Like it's very much like, yeah, I loved this thing, or I didn't mind the adaptation. Like her takes are very, kind of in favor of the source or in favor of the show, whatever that's being done, the adaptation. But in this case, even she was like, I don't know who this is made for, because it's definitely not made for Halo fans. And this
Yep.
is a established video gamer on Twitch, and she loves
Wow.
the series and loves the games. But she was like, I don't know who this is made for because it's not made for me, and I'm their target audience, you know? So she was very honest, and I had to appreciate that. So I did see that, but I did not see the actual show because I just, I think we're finding more and more these generic sci-fi or not platforms, but um,
Hmm.
like environments that these studios are making are just kind of people are becoming apathetic towards these things now, and it's just kind of like people are now saying, I just I have no interest. So, and I wonder if that's worse than
Hmm.
you know anger and hatred and calling stuff out. I wonder if apathy is worse. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, I have apathy for Star Wars, for Marvel on
Mhm.
Disney. I do for what they've done to virtual. I'm just gonna say anything on Apple TV. I'm just gonna be a dick out of the gate and go, nope, it's gonna be woke trash that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I just like I would love to be proved wrong about that. I really would. But no, I mean that's why when we were talking about the Northman, I'm super stoked about that. David Austin is replying back to Purple, and I know where he's going with this. He says Halo
Hmm.
is like Wheel of Time. Spent a bunch of money per an episode, but they can't tell how or where it was spent. Now, Purple, you said they spent 10 million per an
Per
episode.
episode.
Are you kidding me? And how many episodes were there?
Whoa.
8, 6?
I think there's 10 episodes, but they're being
Okay.
released weekly. So, and this is from Paramount Plus.
$10 million. And I saw some of
Mhm.
the effects in CG and that stuff. And I've made this joke before, but it did look like Xbox, my Xbox One version of
Mm.
the Master Chief Halo game looks better than what Paramount put in there. Where David Austin is going with this is that in Wheel of Time, they got $80 million to make one season of fantasy television. And it looked like trash. There's really no other way to put it. Nathan, I know you talked about that when I interviewed you last week. And you guys, if you haven't checked it
Mhm.
out, check out those Wheel of Time interview videos. We're going to be doing more of them, as well as talking about more fantasy authors, including Terry Brooks, Piers Anthony, David
Nice.
Eddings. So, anyone, including members of this panel, if you would like to get in on that action and get interviewed and be surprised with 5 questions on those authors, please reach out to me. I will be starting that next week, especially you guys that are channel members. Hail to all of you, by the way. I don't know. People keep saying it's money laundering. And I don't have an explanation. I mean, where did all the money go? I mean, is it for the diversity courses in catering? I don't understand because it sure isn't on the screen.
At this point, it's got to be because, as you say, this is basically it's generic sci-fi, but with a Halo veneer over the top. And I think you said the exact same thing with Wheel of Time, and we're
It's
most
same
likely
thing.
going to get it with Amazon's Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're
Yeah.
going to get into it later, chat. We pulled up an article today that no one else has covered. And I'm not trying to go woo, 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 but I am kind of going woo, woo, woo. And it actually has mainstream leftist publications are calling
Mhm.
out Amazon's Rings of Power. I didn't think I would see it this quickly, and I just wonder what this is all about. But Al Dan, hail to you. This is our favorite Aussie, just great channel member. Says, man, if Wheel of Time was 2 out of 10, Halo is a -8 out of 10. It was that bad. And this is a man who would
Yes.
rather swim with 20 sharks with a paper cut than ever watch Wheel of Time again. So just saying. Anything in closing? Anyone else see anything on Halo before we move on to the next topic?
I suppose all I
No,
can say is
I'd have
it's
to see it
yeah,
first.
it's lost my interest. I won't be watching the next episode.
Wow.
It's
I just go ahead.
it's kind of come full circle now that the first show that I was ever on with you, Corey, was us watching the Halo trailer, and then now seeing the downfall of
Yeah.
how
Is that the one
how
that was
it's
taken
going.
down?
You mess with the bull, you get the
Yeah.
horns, Paramount. Next time, I won't be so nice. That's all I'm saying. That was all Zax's fault.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, you're right about that. Thanks for that, Max. No, that was the first time we ever had you on, and of course we got nuked. Of course we got nuked because somebody didn't mute something. Oh, wait a minute.
Hmm.
Wait, there's Zaxx. And look, he's hold hold on. I got to jump screens here.
Oh,
Here we go.
speak of the devil.
This is our first. Yeah, speak of the Paramount loving devil. Hail to you, Zaxx, a $5 Canadian. See, this is what guilting people does. You get super chats. So he says, "My name." Oh, you dick. My name is Corey DB, and I believe Rafe Judkins. Oh, you bastard.
Don't read it. Don't read any more. Stop.
Hold on. Wait, let me adjust my glasses. This is from Zaxx of $5 It says, wait, I can't. What's that? My name is, I think it says Zaxx, and I believe Rafe Judkins is a creative genius. Well, hail to you, Zaxx. You're all entitled to your own opinions, but yeah, you got time to do this. You can't be on the show. Hail. I hope you're having a good time in BC, brother. We miss you. So hail to you, Zaxx. We love Zaxx. We really do. And Ms. Martin Muses is here tonight as well. Great channel. She has some absolutely fantastic discussions in depth about Tolkien. Go check her out. Another great up and coming channel.
Absolutely.
Just like mine. So hail to you. Yep. And Aldan. This is why Aldan is probably going to become my consigliere. He says Zaxx is compromised. He is absolutely right about that. Speaking about being compromised, and this is the part of the show where I remind everyone that I still have all of those Nick Cage super chat videos. Why, you may ask, would I bring that up? Well, we have we have more Nick Cage news, and I honestly wasn't looking for it. It just popped into my feed today, and guess what Nick Cage is doing now? He's gonna be Dracula. Panel, I'm gonna kick it out to you. Let's go ahead and start with Zaxx. With Max on this one.
Oh, gosh, he from a distance, and maybe this is just me, but he almost kind of looks like Bela Lugosi here.
Yes.
It's very Bela Lugosi-esque. The pale white face, the sunken in cheeks, and everything. The slick back hair. So I mean, the look is fine. I have no idea what he's doing though. Like at this point, he could be doing anything. I think last time we were talking about him on the film that was kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's, and like who would have seen that coming, you know? But yeah, apparently he has paid off all his debts. He had to sell his Action Comics #1 that was like something like crazy amounts of millions of dollars, and which is a loss, you know. But apparently he's all good now. So I guess these movies that he's doing are just because he wants to do them now, not so much because he has to fill, you know, his debts. But
well, he's got a couple ex-wives and kids too. So I'm not saying that's the only reason, but you know,
fair.
The man's got to earn bread, you know. Purple, what's your take on this?
I am curious about this. I mean, obviously, everybody knows my love for Nick Cage, but this is from Robert Kirkman, who is obviously most well known for Walking Dead, and it's going to be described as a extremely violent comedy. So we'll see. I haven't read the book that it's based on, but I might pick it up before the film comes out, just out of curiosity. But to be honest, it's Nick Cage, and Nick Cage is Nick Caging the hell out of this role.
Well, I mean, imagine if he was doing something like that movie. I can't remember it now. It was the one with Johnny Depp, and I think Tim Burton directed it, and it was about the making of Planet 51. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yeah, Ed Wood.
Yes. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it looks like he's Ed Wood. Ed Wood. But here's the thing: I look at this crushed red velvet smoking jacket, and I wonder how much that costs, because I would love to wear that on a live stream. I mean, it's tough because when you're rocking a red jacket like that, you can either look like Captain Kangaroo or you can look like Hugh Hefner. So I don't know. I think that's a cool. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Gray, what about you? What are your thoughts about Nick Cage in general and playing Dracula in this way?
Well, first, I think Nick Cage is a legend of an actor. He's been in some of my favourite films over the years. But is it just me, or does this photo look like Grandpa Munsters? I mean, that black and white, he does look very kind of black and white, apart from his beautiful red velvet jacket there.
Yes, and we've got a remake of the Monsters coming out. Rob Zombie's
Oh.
behind
Oh,
it.
really? Oh, wow.
hmm Yeah.
Because
Wow.
everyone was asking for that.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a
And
huge
the-
market for monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the original series is genius. What's crazy is check this out. The Addams Family, they're doing another Addams Family thing, okay?
Mhm.
With whatever casting. However, besides that, they're also doing a solo show of Wednesday played by Christina Ricci, but she's not playing Wednesday. Like, my brain is going to explode. I just like how stupid and emotionally and creatively bankrupt are you? You know, guys, there's probably really only one way that we can appease the chat because they are kind of going crazy. And for those of you who don't know what we're about to see, I apologize for those of you requesting it. Here you go.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
So there you go. Your first one is free, and the next one you have to pay for. Because I am not going to sit through that one again, unless you get a super chat. I just saw Gray become emotionally traumatized by that, and as usual, Max is reaching for the hard stuff. So
Terrifying.
Well,
Terrifying.
I think Gray's unasked question though is there going to be gory comedy and nudity in Nick Cage's vampire movie?
So you guys aren't going to believe this, but guess who is directing this? And it is nothing that I expected. It's being directed by the same person who did Tomorrow's War. And let's see. So yeah, you were right. He's Nick Cage, 58, is hard at work playing iconic vampire Dracula in Universal's Renfield opposite the greats Nicholas Hoult, who stars as the titular Renfield opposite, a henchman of the villainous monster. Yeah. Bram Stoker, we all know that. Dracula. The movie is being directed by Tomorrow War's Chris McKay. What did you guys think of a Tomorrow's War? Did you?
I didn't actually see it. I heard that it was fine. I think it was probably, if it were to come out in the 80s, I think a lot of people would have probably had fun with it. But yeah, I just heard that it was kind of fine.
Ooh, wow.
Look at this.
That's an interesting. Yeah, that's that velvet jacket is something else. Oh, he's even got the nails too. Look at that,
dude. Look at the rings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my.
Matching pants.
He's rocking that red velvet.
Oh my god. I'm ready for a whole trilogy now. Just having seen these publicity stills, I want him to redo every major Dracula Hammer horror video. I really, really do. This is going to be interesting. Oh wait, no,
It has the potential to be a lot of fun.
Ooh.
Yeah,
it's just the way it looks.
Got Renfeld.
Yeah, it should be worth noting as well that this is from Universal, and they're trying to say that this is part of their Universal Monsters line that they keep trying to get off the ground.
That was actually going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Purple. What is is this in the cinematic universe of Tom Cruise's Mummy?
Yes,
Thank you.
The dark universe that they were trying to.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Did you guys see that movie? Because I saw the trailer and I was like, no, this isn't. Tom Cruise doesn't belong in this movie. And I think I watched part of it free on a flight, and I was like, this is dumb. I just. What did you guys think?
I didn't watch it.
I'm not a Tom Cruise fan, so I don't watch that.
I thought it was pretty stupid, although I did quite like the lady who played the mummy. I thought that was an interesting take, at least. But yeah, not a great movie, but in any sense.
I saw the leaked footage of the sound mixing that hadn't been like fully finalized yet. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there's a scene where they're falling out of a plane. Yeah. And the scene was leaked before they had finished the sound mixing, so it's like a scream here and a yell there, but it's like not actually mixed in with any soundtrack or anything. It's really funny to watch. So I I wonder if I could see if I could pull that up, but
I know what you're
Pretty
talking
easy.
about. That's part of
Yeah.
what soured me to that movie. And then when I watched it, I was like, it just Tom Cruise does not need to be in the MonsterVerse. He doesn't. Give it to
Yeah.
somebody else. Let Tom Cruise fly jets and do his 37th. Whatever that. What's that sequel? That thing where he's Mission Impossible. 89 or 37, whatever movie they're on. Hail to TRW. A longtime channel member of mine says he's considering a career change. How does one become an intimacy coordinator? Is it the same kind of deal as a community organizer? Well, I would say if you are part of the Will Smith Jada Plinkett household, I think they're probably one and the same. So yeah. Nobody's gonna jump on that. No one's got my back on that joke. Okay, thanks a lot, you guys.
Is that Mr. Plinkett's wife? Mr. Plinkett's wife. Yeah.
That's a hell of a thing. Yeah.
It is a hell of a thing. Hail to you, TRW, by the way. Prophet of the Dragon says that Nick Cage was looking great in those pictures. I agree. I mean, what do you do, man? I mean, you're Nick Cage. You've had a lot more busts than booms in the last couple of years with your movies. I think what he's doing makes sense, man. He's doing those small indie cinemas. And we talked about it last week. There was Pig. There was that, what's that other one? Willy's Wonderland. Not everybody was a fan of these flicks. Now he's doing a movie that he's playing himself in some wackadoodle way. I mean, why not? And now he's going to do Dracula. I mean, why not?
Did you watch the trailer just out of curiosity?
I have not yet. I want to. It's just I've been busy making Wheel of Time videos for the last 2 weeks. So I hope to watch that. What did you think? Did you watch it?
I did. It's another one of those films that I'm looking forward to because it looks ridiculous.
I would agree. So what's our feeling on that? Are you guys, let's just go around, just yay, nay. Are you guys going to see this Dracula movie with Nick Cage? Yay, nay, what do we think? I think I want to see, I won't see it on the big screen unless it gets great reviews. I will check it out on streaming though. I would say I'm more than moderately interested about this.
Yeah,
I'm on that too.
Same, yeah. Probably unless it gets rave reviews, I probably wouldn't go out to see it, but I definitely would like to see it.
Look at this. We've got Roman of the Empire. I think this is a gentleman from your show last night, Max. This is a brother. He and I were talking a little bit of smack last night together. Hail to you, Roman of the Empire. He says, ahoy all. Just popped in, having a whiskey and a cigar and enjoying the cruise hate. Well, you're always welcome here, Roman of the Empire. Hail to you. Do you have anything to say to your buddy here, Roman of the Empire, Max?
Great to see you, Roman. Thank you for stopping by. And next time I'll be wearing silkies just for you. Don't worry. So. But Roman of the Empire is a 20 or 30-year veteran in the Air Force, and he just retired. And
wow.
So he and I give each other a hard time. But yeah, we met in person at the Nerdrotic meetup for Spider-Man. So he's a really great guy, and we had a lot of fun.
Fantastic. That's a great story. Hail to you, a Roman of the Empire, and hail, of course, to Max for being here. Jaden Hamilton says, if Stormlight Archive gets a proper and respectful adaptation, I think Nick Cage would actually make a great Dalinar. Interesting. All right, let's move on to the next topic, you guys. Sorry, thanks for putting up with me tonight. I lost my wingman, Zaxx, who again is camped out at a Kentucky Fried Chicken in rural British Columbia rather than be here on my show tonight. So,
Zaxx, miss you, bro. Miss you, bro.
Yeah, I'll be looking for another producer. The job description will be up probably tomorrow. So, you know what's crazy is I keep hearing about all these Marvel movies, Marvel Phase 4, and as if my bag of Fs could be any less full. I now come across this article today, and it blows my mind. All right, guys, this is from Bleeding Fool. Guess what movie is still undergoing reshoots?
Wow.
Doctor Strange, and this is as of the 27th. This isn't some crazy dated thing. How it really makes you wonder why. I mean, you guys, I'm going to kick this out to you, Purple, Max, Nathan, Gray. What is it? And let's start with this from a comic book perspective. We'll start with Gray and Max. why do you think is it? Assuming that they're even going to cover the source material in this, why do you think this is happening?
I'll let you go, Gray, if you want to kind of speak on this.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, I was just having a spoonful of honey from my throat.
Ooh.
When is this supposed to be out? Is it May? It's supposed to be out.
That's what they're saying, and I can scroll down because I am multitasking.
Yeah, I think I saw the trailer for it, like most people, and it looks exciting, looks good, but to be doing reshoots now, it's the end of March, it's almost April, and the movie's out in, say, a month or a month and a half. It's insane. What is going on with Marvel?
Well, one could ask that question, really, about every
About Disney, isn't it?
every movie.
Sweeping, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the article. This is from the 27. It says, despite Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness scheduled to hit theaters in less than 2 months, Benedict Cumberbatch recently revealed that he's filming reshoots. While attending the recent BAFTAs, Cumberbatch let slip that he himself is still involved in filming additional scenes. What extra madness could director Sam Raimi possibly be adding at this late stage?
Yes, what are they up to? And we had a pretty in-depth, trailer that was brought out as well that got people quite excited. So what else are they bringing out, or what are they changing?
I mean, do we think it's the America Chavez thing? Do we think that there are characters in there like Ms. Marvel, like Captain Marvel, that maybe because God knows? I mean, it's a cascading effect of failures. They had to do reshoots on Ms. Marvel. They had to do reshoots on the Marvels, aka Captain Marvel 2. Now they've got this multiverse of madness. Now, do we think they're doing it just because of the big Spider-Man that movie just came out? I mean, I don't know, Max. Do you have any opinion on this, or is this stuff just so far from canon that it would be speculation at this point?
I mean, they've definitely gone their own direction at this point in time with the films and the shows. I would probably say in the wake of the recent Spider-Man success, this may become a committee decision, not so much a directorial creative decision. With any film, you're going to get reshoots. It's just inevitable. I mean, even look at our favorite series, one of our favorite trilogies, Lord of the Rings. Even they had to come back like a year later or something to do final reshoots. Not because they had, they were worried about it, but because sometimes they think they may get better shots, or the audio is off, or the color grading. So reshoots are inevitable with anything, but to have it like this means that I think the corporation is now getting their hands in the cookie jar, and the producers, the ones with the money, are saying, we need to change things. The committee as a whole is saying, we need you to go back, reshoot this, redo this, we're going to do this. And with that being said, I wonder if we're going to get the duct tape effect, where there's a scene that's just duct taped in, and you can go, that was the committee. I'm interested
like
if we
Justice
get that
League.
with this.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where you see it very prominently with Joss Whedon's Justice League. Are these scenes with like super high saturation and goofy humor that cost $10 million, and it's just it definitely looks like these scenes were just kind of pasted in. Everyone's wigs are weird and off, and so
well, you saw that in the non-ending half hour of Batman movie, where it's like they just kept on layering on paint and duct taping more crap on it, and it's like the movie, if it just would have ended before they got to that arena thing, it would have been a masterpiece. Instead, we had to sit through 35 minutes of I don't know what. It was just stupid, and you could tell from a continuity standpoint, it didn't belong in the movie. It didn't.
Yes. Do you guys think also perhaps because Morbius has had negative reviews that perhaps they've gotten a little bit nervous? I know Morbius is more to do with Sony, but it's still within the Marvel umbrella. Do you think perhaps that's had a knock-on effect as well?
Purple, I'll take it one step further because you raise a really good point. I would say it's not just Morbius. It's the Eternals. It's the legends of Shang-Chi and the woke Simu. I charge $100 for an autograph guy. It's Black Widow, and let's be
Yes.
about it. I can't find one person who's really excited to have male, handsome, toxic masculinity Thor replaced by 100-pound Jane Foster.
Mm.
I really think they need this one to be a hit to cover all of the expenses and their corporate balance sheet for all of the woke trash that has come before this moment and after this moment. I'm still going to go see Morbius, though. I will. I'm going to go see it in a matinee just because I want to see this movie. I do. I want to give it a chance, and I want to be able to talk about it because I think it deserves it. And if it sucks, I am going to let loose. That's all I'm going to say.
Me too, Salty. I want to see it. I'm very intrigued, and I like the character from the Golden Age, the comics. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I heard it's being put back again, or am I misinformed? Morbius.
I think it was put back. It was put back. I think now till April. But
Right,
I
yeah.
can't imagine they can put it back again because you might as
Okay.
well just scrap the film at this point.
Yeah. I hope not. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and further into the article, what we get is, and this is, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch says, it's been tough. I'll be honest with you. It's had quite a journey, this film, but not in a kind of poor me way. Just like the nature of where we're at, Stephen Strange, portrayer Benedict Cumberbatch said, quote, to try and make a massive film like this that under the construction of a pandemic, blah, 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 and the delays that have ensued, partly because of the power of the dog, but also because so what he says is it was because of everything else at Marvel that this was a cascading effect.
Hmm.
I believe that to a certain point. I really do. I just think, and then the last Spider-Man movie came out.
Yes.
And instead of making 15 cents in a free Frosty from Wendy's as far as revenues from a box office for a Marvel movie, somebody was making a lot of money because the movie wasn't full of woke trash and agenda. And I gotta wonder, maybe it's just silly old me and my tender heart that maybe somebody is figuring out that we go to the movies to watch our superheroes beat the hell out of each other and have a good time, not be re-educated.
Oh, gosh, I hope so. Yeah, we also had the trailer, and a lot of people picked up on the rather passive-aggressive line that Scarlet Witch said that people didn't like. So I'm hoping perhaps they've kind of negated her character a bit rather than trying to redeem her, that she is actually technically a villain because of what she did.
Yeah. It's what's crazy about this, and anybody jump in on this one, is just I think the damage that was done on Disney, on those Disney Marvel shows, I think is having a cumulative effect with the poor storytelling of Black Widow, of the Legends of Shang-Chi, and of the Eternals. I think that people are not tired of superhero stories. I don't think they're tired of them at all. They're tired of bad stories. They're tired of undeveloped characters. They're tired of not seeing the hero's journey. They're tired of woke agendas. Now, you guys, I'm opening it up to anybody. Are you sick of seeing superheroes, or are you sick of bad stories, or are you sick of some combination of the two?
Yes, and I'm a comic book fan. Sorry, go for it, Nathan. I'm a
no.
comic book fan, and I'm sick and tired. I want a 5-year break from superhero movies.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't need another Batman. I don't need another Superman. I don't need any more of that stuff. A good break would be a welcome thing. The other thing that I'm getting sick of is all this multiverse stuff. It's an excuse to completely eliminate any meaningful death in any movie and constantly resurrect characters that you've killed off. I can't stand multiverse stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we see it within the comics, and now, like, because once DC and Marvel realized that, granted, Marvel was much more grounded because their heroes are much more street level. You only have a few examples of Silver Surfer and Thor that are kind of these cosmic gods and these godlike beings. But for the most part, DC are all gods. They're gods among men. And so you can do that kind of multiverse, craziness. But now Marvel's getting a hold of that as well. And so, like you said, Nathan, it becomes an excuse, and it becomes a crutch, as opposed to a lifting creative, like lifting platform. And I mean that in a sense of not a political activist platform, but a platform of creativity to rise, to allow their story to rise to another level. They could utilize the multiverse as something cool, but it now has become a crutch because they've relied on it too much. So
Exactly.
it's with any, yeah, it's with anything. Too much of a good, too much of something, too much of a good thing can be bad. I'm butchering the quote, but yeah,
Well, you just
yeah.
get tired of it.
exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Purple? What's your sense with superheroes? I know that you were excited about Morbius, and I hope you still are. I really hope this is a good movie, because I would just like to have a like a 6.5 or a 7 Morbius. I don't want any like ones or twos or threes out of 10 for a Marvel movie. And it would be cool to see an anti-hero done well, as opposed to every villain is just a sympathetic one. Maybe somebody had some talent in the writing of that. I don't know. One can dream. One can dream.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying, and I loved the superhero films, but I think because we've had so many of them for so long now, we could do with a break of them. Especially now that we've got Phase 4, they seem to be so confused with what they want to tell the story with, whereas before they were very linear. We knew where they were going. They told a story really well. But now that they've introduced the multiverse, it's very, very convoluted.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like to see a different genre take its place. We were talking about the historical epics. That would be great.
Yes.
I'd love to see
Yes.
westerns come back,
Yes.
something like that.
And you guys, after the show is over, I want to go ahead and come up with like our top 5 or top 10 westerns of all time, and just do a Tuesday show where we talk about our favorite westerns,
Ooh,
our
yes.
favorite characters. I could literally do a 6-hour stream on that. I love westerns a tremendous amount. So, let's see. Yeah, so Gray is having some issues on his side, but don't worry. These things happen. He is in Japan, and let me get to this super chat. I need to, however, before we do that, Zaxx, who said a really disparaging thing about himself and Rafe Judkins, I forgot to give him a video. And because we give a lot of love to Lord of the Rings on this channel, so does Max on his show. If you haven't watched him on Monday night, he has really good clips too. But one thing I haven't done is give Peter Jackson's The Hobbit the love and the respect that, quite frankly, I think it deserves. I think that those are beautiful movies. I think they should have been 2 movies. But
Agreed.
that is what it is. So, Zaxx,
Amen.
despite your profound lack of taste and not understanding just what Rafe Judkins did to Amazon's Wheel of Time, I'm going to give you the master, Tolkien.
Why, Bilbo Baggins? Perhaps it is because I'm afraid. It gives me courage.
That's so awesome. I love it.
Oh,
That is good.
I just sometimes, let's just say this dark timeline, sometimes you need to have something that falls on the sentimental. That's all I'm going to say.
Now,
Hail to
when,
you
when
again.
you said Zach's profound lack of taste, were you talking about KFC?
Well, that would be a whole other show. All I know is he's Canadian, and it is what it is. So no, Zaxx, we love you. I hope everything is going well with where you are. So hail to you, brother. We miss you. This is from Thunder Sensei 150, longtime member of this chat. I love seeing all these people come back. Your names. Thank you so much. This is a $4.99 super chat. Says, and something just popped up. So sick of stuff like, quote, I'm not Starfire, unquote, and I'm going to punch you in the head, Max. And that makes no sense. It is trash. I'm going to start again. Stop it. Max is pinging me in the private chat, and it keeps popping up, and he
Sorry.
knows it. So it's okay. You just wait till Monday night. This is from Thunder Sensei 150 for $4.99. Says, so sick of stuff like I'm Not Starfire that makes no sense and is trash made to destroy and deconstruct heroes to push these woke agendas. I am going to kick this one out to you, panel, but I am going to give you yet another Hobbit video. This one, I think, is one of my new favorites.
You should have stayed dead.
I can watch that all night long. Elrond laying down the smack dab. We've got Saruman before he turns bad. I love that scene. Hail to you, Thunder Sensei 150. You know, there are many pieces there are many things that shouldn't have had trees cut down to be printed on in the comic book industry as of late. I remember that crazy, what was it, Gotham? You guys remember that? It was a woman who turned Bruce Wayne into it was just utter trash. But
yes,
I
like
am not
the Gotham High story.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, with turning Alfred a different sexuality, because that's what's important about Alfred. But I'm Not Starfire was probably one of the most egregious things I think I've ever seen. And this is a hypothetical, and I don't expect anyone to answer this, but at what point do we start calling clinical narcissism coupled with a profound lack of talent another name other than woke? Because that's what it is. It's a toxic blend of entitlement with not nearly enough money in the bank to cash the checks that these people seem to think that they can cash with a very, very tiny playbook. So what do you think about this? Is there anything? Let's do this as a counterpoint. Is there any graphic novel that you could equate that would be the anti-version of I'm Not Starfire that has come out in the last year? And I'm going to kick this out to anybody. Is there something hot that is out there full of toxic femininity and masculinity from a superhero perspective?
I don't know if I can equate anything to I'm Not Starfire, because the the goal of the book is, because it is a graphic novel, so it's more like 100 and something pages as opposed to your normal just regular comic book, which tends to be anywhere from like 22 to 24 pages long in a single issue. So this is much longer, and it's more of a read for young adults. I'm pretty sure it was sold as a YA novel, graphic novel, if you will. So
Yes.
it was not, it definitely was not made for any of us on this panel. But I would argue that it kind of is, because it's this story of Starfire's daughter growing up and just how awful this girl is to her mother. And so I don't want to have a parent portrayed like that, especially Starfire, which we all love. I mean, if anyone watched the Teen Titans, Cartoon Network series, everyone loves Starfire. She's the nice one, the innocent one. She's kind of this all-around sweet, gentle, kind, loving person. So why would her daughter end up being this hateful, horrible, entitled brat, that never really learns anything? So it was very unfortunate to read, especially the fact that it's geared towards young adults, because it just promotes that type of character, and it promotes that, yes, I can be this way, and I'm now justified in my actions towards my family, and it's there's no message there. So I can't equate it towards anything else. I'm sorry, but
no, dude. I mean, you're spot on. And the other thing is I couldn't figure out why it looked like I Am Starfire had a one night she regretted with Danny DeVito. I mean, I didn't understand. Gray, if you're there, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I didn't read it. Just saw a few reviews on YouTube, and it was clearly a self-insert by the writer. Mariko That's what I heard. I don't think she looks that bad in real life. I'm not sure, but anyway, yeah, as a story, it holds no interest for me because, as you say, it was marketed towards YA. So you're right there. What I would recommend, Salty, while we're talking about decent graphic novels or decent comics that's come out recently, is a series Boom Studios. It's called Once and Future. I think we talked about it before. It's basically kind of retelling the King Arthur legend, where King Arthur is resurrected, but he's the bad guy. He eliminates all the, what do you call it, the non-Anglo-Saxons from England. So it's almost like an anti-woke book. It's really good, and it's got a kick-ass grandma as one of the main characters. She's cool.
That's awesome. I see you, Max, chomping at the bit. You got something to add on that assessment?
No, I just love. I mean, Dan Mora's artwork is absolutely fantastic in that series. Gray and I both agree, and Gray and I both love Dan Mora's artwork on the most recent Batman and Superman comic that came out of nowhere. No one would have expected that one either. But so there are good things being made, but just not in the YA, which would be like young adult graphic novel readership. I just don't see anything being produced there that's of any substance.
Purple, is there anything that you've read or that you might have seen from a graphic novel in the last year that's blown your hair back?
Not in the last year. I've been tending to go much, much further back in time to get great stories recently. But I think that if you're going to do a self-insert, as this writer clearly did, perhaps be a little bit more subtle about it.
Yeah, that was literally like she took out her elementary school class pictures and added in armpit hair and bad skin.
Jesus.
And dude, I'm not making the news. I'm just reporting it. It was horrifying. It was an absolutely horrifying thing. What I've picked up, like you, Purple, I've gone back and I've picked up a bunch of older stuff that I didn't have. Like I got the Charles, the Chuck Dixon and Sean Deming, The Hobbit, the fully illustrated edition of the fantasy classic graphic novel. If you haven't checked it out, it is an astonishingly beautiful book. It is amazing. It is just absolutely fantastic. Of course, I've also, because I like Chuck Dixon's work a lot, picked up his Eye of the World. Chuck Dixon, along with Chase Connolly, did a graphic novel. I've got volume 1 here.
Gorgeous.
I'm going to hunt for the other ones. It's gorgeous, and it was also entirely done at the direction of Robert Jordan. He gave notes on how everyone should look. It's all documented out there. And these are not just beautifully done comic books. They are painstakingly true to the source material, which is what makes them great. I'm going to say, let me get to this super chat. This is from a Roman of the Empire. Hail to you, my good sir. And this is what Max was pinging me for in the private chat, so I couldn't see the screen. That's why I was giving him grief. This is a $4.99 super chat. Says, I swear if Max says I was in the... Oh, no. Oh, boy. Wrong branch of service. I swear if Max says I was in the Air Force one more time, I'm going to go all Will Smith on him. Navy, dude. Navy. Gosh darn Marines.
And normally I would say you're right, Roman. I apologize. I as Nathan would so lovingly say, I have I've eaten too many crayons, and my brain has now just devolved into nothingness, into the crayon wax, if you will. Sometimes. It's the off-brand. So sometimes I get it wrong. But in this case, I'll say, listen, if it's not Marine Corps, it's all the same thing. So no, I'm kidding. And for that, I will drink. But I love you, Roman. I totally apologize that I keep saying that, and I don't even honestly think about it. So Navy, and without you, brother, I would have no transport. So I thank you very, very much for your work and for your mentorship, because
Roman is your ride.
Exactly.
Or Corman, or
yes,
Chappells.
we cannot forget the Corman and the Chaplains for sure.
I did work with the Navy. I did not serve actively. I was just a wharf rat, so I needed to represent for my man Roman of the Empire. This one
Absolutely.
is for you.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the red gourd.
Hail to you again, Roman of the Empire. Let me just bounce through this.
Very
real
cool.
I would agree. I may have missed one, but this is from a guy I was lucky enough to spend. We spent about 20 minutes hanging out. Never talked to Aldan before. One of the nicest guys you're ever going to find. He was one of the people that was on the Wheel of Time video that I did. I think the first one with Mana Manethrin. Great guy. His passion and subject matter expertise are incredible. This is someone who loves the source material, who loves the characters that Robert Jordan created. And I said it in my videos, but I am so honored to know you people and to hear your passion, and that not only did I try and stand in there on my own and try and take on what they've done, but now that you guys are speaking up for yourselves, and I'm going to continue to do that and to make sure that we make them as uncomfortable as we can by telling and speaking truth to power for what they're doing, not just to Robert Jordan, but to Tolkien, to everything that we love. And at least at the end, we can say we tried. Hail to you, Aldan. This is a $15 Australian super chat. Just tossing a coin to the tubers with a $5 inflation for the Valkyrie intro, because yes, you guys are killing me. Sex. See, and now I know, even though Gray isn't behind there, I know he stood straight up. Sex still sells, people. Hail to you, Aldan. Let me get you something out of the bag of tricks. Here you go.
Not a lot.
Go hit him!
That is a fan favorite right there.
Just got
Do we think?
goosebumps.
Right. Do we think Éomer has the best helm in the franchise?
It's pretty darn great. It is
With
pretty
the-
darn.
It's
The
that
horse.
horse head coming right
Yes.
down on the
Yeah.
nose. Oh, the
Yeah.
artistry of Weta Workshop for that set of movies was just parallel for anything.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they were still technically like up and comers, right? I mean, this was one of their first major projects. If I'm
Yeah.
if I'm
I
correct.
think
Oh, yeah.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I thought Weta got off the ground because of Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
I could be wrong, but they were pretty young. At the
Yeah,
very-
and they were tiny at the time. They practically
Mhm.
worked out of what was a corrugated shed. They built these sets and armors and weapons from. It was incredible.
And it just shows like how much these people at Weta wanted this job and how passionate they were, because they didn't know if this was going to be a big movie or not, but they were like, hey, this is our first exposure. Let's make everything from the
Yeah.
tapestries in the background, because like all of those are hand woven tapestry, like
Yeah.
in Edoras, in the Great Hall, all those tapestries, but behind King Theoden, all hand woven, just stuff like that. Where like now, nope, it would all just be CGI. Why would they put
Mhm.
any effort or money into that? So
Yes.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
That's why
the
everything looks cold and
chainmail
dead
was
now.
made. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Purple.
Oh, I was just saying the chainmail was made by hand. They had these guys putting
Yeah.
together the links. They've actually worn off
Mhm.
their fingerprints, putting these things
Yeah.
together.
Yep.
Couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, and what I fear is that with the Rings of Power, the same corners are going to be cut from that attention to detail standpoint that we saw with Wheel of Time. And there were many scenes where it was very subpar. Not the least of which was in the final penultimate episode, where they took the most important character in the origin story and stuck him in something that looked like a Swedish talk show set, and it was all bad. It was CGI worse than the original prequel movie, The Phantom Menace. It was that bad. Before we get into it, because this is now your pivot into the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power news, and this is actually news. I'm not just fluffing this. This is real. Let's get to this $2 super chat. Australian from Ruvel Arvida. Hail to you, my wolf brother. Reasons why manga is dominating the West. I every time I go to a big corporate bookstore, all I see, I literally, are multiple rows stacked to like 8 feet high of every type of manga you could ever imagine. And then you got one little 3-foot section of Marvel social engineering projects. And occasionally you can find things like The Dark Knight Returns, The Killing Joke, something like that. But it is all manga all the time. Now I'm going to kick that out to you guys. Max, gray, purple. I mean, it's obvious, but are there any titles, and whenever we do this, people go crazy, are there any titles that you really like as far as manga goes? Are you indifferent? What's your position on this?
I know Gray has some great Shonen Jump, like original black and white, books, which is really cool to see. I've always really loved Lone Wolf and Cub. It's a classic. Like you can't go wrong. It's like so many stories have developed and become and have been adapted from the Lone Wolf and Cub manga, and it's just such a classic tale of this kind of stoic samurai who is on his own path and finds this child and now has to take care of this child, which is very similar to Mandalorian. And so you see Lone Wolf and Cub in a lot of different arenas. I think another one is Blade of the Immortal, and of course Berserk, that everyone is on fire about, rightfully so. Yeah, I think those three are fantastic mangas that you can actually go right now and get, like, full omnibus sized books and read it all the way through. I think another one is One Piece that people are just going nuts for right now.
Yeah.
One Piece is just been dominating.
Yeah, and for everybody, Gray is having network issues. He's going to drop out, but we'll come back. Gray, we hope you can come back in. So we'll go ahead, brother.
Absolutely. I haven't really gotten into manga or anime at the moment, but I know a lot of people who are avid fans and they've given me some great recommendations. So it's on my list of things to get into. But as you say, you can't think of a better time to start, to be honest.
Yeah, I actually picked one up. Doomcock recommended one to me. It was about zombies, and it's incredible. Of course, being the North American that I am, I was completely baffled how to read this book. I have to go the opposite direction with the pages. I just want to say hail to Culture Casino. It's great to see you, brother. Great channel. Culture does his 6-minute daily every day. It is a go-to for me. It covers all the things you need to know and are not being told. However, with Ruvel Aravida, I owe you something from the bag of tricks, and this is yet again another fan favorite.
We travel light. Let's hunt some orc.
Oh, I think it's time to pour some bourbon and get ready to hunt some orc. I would absolutely agree. Hail to you, Culture Casino. This is $5 says big love to all of you. Well, big love to you right back, you little bearded lug. We love you, Culture. You're the best. I'm going to give you, what can we give you? I am going to give you this from, there we go. This is for you, Culture. I say it every show, but I watch Max's face when I drop the new Lord of the Rings clips, and he's not on his phone. He's not like looking out the window. He's focused, and then I watch the smile grow like the Cheshire Cat every time we get a new Lord of the Rings clip. So, hail to you, Culture. You do fantastic work, brother. Thanks for showing up. It means a lot to me. So hail to you.
Great to see you, Culture.
Yes, good to see you guys.
So I think let's go ahead and pivot into that article. And I sent this to you guys this morning as soon as I saw it. And this article had been posted 2 hours before I found it. And I wanted to share it with you all and to see if this was overblown or if this was actually what I thought it was. And it really is. I would say, I mean, the Loper is kind of trash in my opinion. It's kind of a shill site, in my opinion. But they're not speaking very well of what Amazon has done to the Lord of the Rings of Power trilogy. Now, you guys, you've all on the panel, you've read this. Am I overstating this, or is that fairly accurate? Did this surprise you?
I was surprised, to be honest, because as you say, this is the first time we've seen a kind of a mainstream, shill site. I think it's fair to say, really have something negative to say, or at least acknowledge that what the fans are saying, maybe they've got a point, which is an interesting way. And we're still a long way off getting the Amazon Lord of the Rings. So I'm curious as to see, is this going to be a pattern that we're going to see, or is this going to be a one-off?
Agreed. Max, what did you think?
To echo the sentiment of what Purple is saying, it's definitely becoming more of a widely known aspect or viewpoint that people are now kind of, I don't want to say waking up to, but in a sense, in a way they are, because more and more they continually are seeing, I guess not the failure of Amazon's part, but like if you go to the trailer right now, if I'm a normie, all I see is those comments, and I'm going to start going, what's this all about? And I'm going to start looking into it. And what I think more people are coming to the realization of is Amazon doing this for the purpose of creating another Lord of the Rings series, or are they just doing this to create more divide within fandoms? There's a great YouTube video, and I'm blanking on the channel name, so I'll get that for you guys and maybe post it in here. But it's a great breakdown, and essentially this guy talks about he doesn't care about the adaptation, he doesn't care about the representation, he doesn't care about all these things. What he cares about is how malicious it seems that Amazon is doing this to only divide a fandom. He breaks down his reasons, and I thought it was very well said and well done. So I think more people are kind of having that realization now.
Is that Tolkien Road? Were you checking out Tolkien Road? Because if you guys haven't checked out this guy, he is a up and coming YouTuber. His takes are fantastic. Tolkien Road, go give him a sub. Gives some great takes. Also, European lore. We're going to get together and record, if not this week, then next week, just because of schedules. He's decided not to do the live appearance. It's not because of us. It's simply because in order for him to do that, he has to get up at 3:00 in the morning, and he has a real life. So I completely understand that. So just a teaser there. But Nathan, you read this, and this is one of the first things you said to me when we went in the green room was your perspective on what they were saying in this article. What did you think?
I thought that they were asking all the same questions that we were, as I'm scrolling down here, my very first question after that trailer was, what's with the antlers? And that's literally one of the questions in here. But the other thing too, is after that Vanity Fair article, it's the question about writing the novels that Tolkien couldn't, and they actually address this as, that's a pretty unlikely event to occur, considering you haven't written anything. They question also that, they question how modern will the story be? Will it be too Jacksonian, which, you know what, it could do being Jacksonian, in my opinion.
Yes, I'll take it. I'll take that at this point. Absolutely. Yes.
Right. They've completely bleached Jackson out of it.
If that's the worst thing that you're going to do is to make it so it looks like Peter Jackson, I'm not entirely sure what the problem is. I'm just not. Let me pull this one up.
I
Go
was
ahead,
just going
Mike.
to say, no one would ever have the complaint of like, ugh, this looks too much like Peter Jackson's films. Like, who would ever? Like, what kind of complaint would that be? Like, ugh, it looks too gorgeous, man. The
Maybe
spanning
if you're comparing it to
landscapes.
King Kong.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe, or like his early horror films when he's like literally just on a like a little
yeah.
handheld cam
Right.
in New Zealand,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
that's a very interesting take. For this video though, Salty, we don't need to watch it, but
No.
I just thought it was interesting. This guy's channel is fantastic. Alasia
Yes.
kind of hooked me on him, and it's exactly what the title says. He believes that the trailer is much more of a distraction to what they're actually trying to do, which is undermine and divide fans. And I think it's
Yeah.
a good point. So
Yeah, I watched this one too, and I really like this guy's takes. There's a
Mhm.
reason why he has nearly 20,000 subs.
Mhm.
He has great lore exposure, and he has really good non-shill takes. So those are winning combinations. So thanks for that, Max.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and to get back to that article with like what we were talking about, and I lost Gray. Okay, Gray's back. How you doing, Gray?
I'm lost. I'm lost in Mordor, I think. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on. I think they might be doing work in the street, like doing some work on the cable or something. So, but it's saying it's okay now, the connection. So, yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, I thought you were taking the hobbits to Isengard for a second there. So
Well, Mordor is still better than the Rings of Power set, so you're still okay.
I'm going to bounce us back to the article, and they went. What's crazy about this, and you can find it on Looper, Loper, whatever the hell this thing is called, is that they literally Max said and Purple. Have you had a chance to talk about this one? I think you have, but they're all asking the same questions that we have. People are worried about the CGI. They really are, and with good reason. And it says, this is literally from the article. It says, on the other hand, we have the teaser trailer, which has drawn the ire of many fans due to its poorly received CGI. Now, is that fair? I mean, the CGI wasn't great, but I think a lot more of us were worried about the fact we weren't seeing people we expected to see in the second age.
Go ahead, Purple. I'll let you go first.
Yes, I think the CGI. I think it was in the back of people's minds, but as you say, we were more concerned with the overall trailer. We were this is the first time that they could actually show us what they were working on and really get the fans hyped. And what we got was not a lot of anything really. We didn't really know who the characters were. They didn't introduce them very well. We had a very odd voiceover, and it was just scene after scene after scene after scene that really didn't mean anything to anybody.
It didn't feel like Tolkien. It felt like we were watching something from Disney Marvel. And even this article, even this leftist shill article says, quote, from Gladriel climbing a cliff to encounter a weird troll thing, there's more than one point in that footage where the CGI isn't doing Amazon any favors. Of course, this is just promotional footage. It's entirely possible they still have work to do to clean up those scenes before they're released. Still, what we've seen so far is anything but reassuring. These are not my words. I am reading from an article, and I don't do that. I normally try and editorialize it, but in this case, this is them saying the same thing we got called racist bigots at all over.
Yes, and Amazon have gone on over and over how expensive and how much money they're spending on this, and how they're going to bring Middle Earth back to life. But are they really? CGI is a tool. It should be used to enhance. The reason why Jackson's Lord of the Rings did so well is because Weta did practical effects. If you think of the miniatures that they built, or the bigatures, as they, I think, were affectionately renamed, because some of them were 70 feet tall. But, that's how they did it. They put the work in and the effort. And you guys were talking earlier about the tapestries in the background that were handmade. You were talking about the armor that they made. All of this stuff that love went into, and I'm not seeing it with this Amazon.
I think it would be funny if people are complaining about the CGI just because we've, hey, as a diehard Lord of the Ring fan, even I can admit the scene where Frodo is like, the CGI scene where it's like that dream sequence and Elrond is speaking
Yeah.
and Frodo
Yeah.
is sleeping or something, and it's like the white and everything. Awful, terrible CGI. Like, what were they thinking? So, and we can acknowledge that and go, that was funny, but that was 2001,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But we're talking about 2021 with people who, are being paid very, very well to do this and have lots of times
Yes.
on their hands to make this. And like you said, Purple, it is there to enhance and not to become a crutch to a lot of these creators. So I don't know. It's almost like it looks very generic in the sense of lots
Yes.
of the CGI now, especially the Tomorrow War. Where I know we were talking about that earlier in the stream. I heard a lot of people saying that the creatures in Tomorrow War were just kind of plug and play. Like it almost looked like they had just taken a model from a different 3D rendering and then just had it move in this movie, and it just looked very generic. I wonder if we're going to get that, but it would be an interesting comment if people are like, oh, the CGI is bad. It's like, well, it is, yeah, sure, but we have seen worse, or not worse, but we've seen bad CGI as well. I think Lord of the Rings fans can handle bad CGI. They're more intellectually minded and are thinking of the story. But yes, we are seeing a lot of people now, especially in this article, bringing up the same points that we have brought up for years now, but they're now the heroes and we're still the bad guys, Doesn't make sense. Oh, well.
Gray, what's your take on that? I mean, the CGI, I guess comparing what we saw to the teaser trailer 20 years on and then the Lord of the Rings. For me, just to make it about me, because why not? I watch those, I cycle through those three movies nonstop. Like I do. I'll watch sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes, an hour, and then stop. And then just because, it's such a fun timeline we live in, you just need to go and hang out with hobbits for a while. But I never look at that movie and go, you know what? There's a scene where Gollum's jumping a rock to go after a fish and he looks like a cartoon. No, I just see Gollum going after a fish jumping on a rock because I'm immersed in the story, like Max talked about, like Purple talked about. I see those things as part of as part of the character of the film. Like it just makes it that more authentic, that more human, that more organic. And I don't know, maybe that's just because I'm old and sentimental and, I'm Gen X and came from a very different way of living and seeing the world. But Gray, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, does the CGI, was that at the top of your list, or was there another reason the teaser trailer was problematic for you?
How long have you got, Salty? Like, I've got a list here. No, I'm just kidding. The CGI didn't really bother me. I wasn't looking for that. I'm a big fan of practical effects, I think, like most people. And I don't mind CGI when it's done well. But, when you have an over-reliance on CGI, like maybe the Hobbit movies did, it went a bit too much into it, and it just didn't look as good as the original trilogy. There's not much comparison to it, is there? As you said, when you start watching Two Towers or Return of the King these days, you try and put it on for 10 minutes and then like 2 hours later, you're halfway through the movie. It's so good. You get so pulled in. And I just can't see that in the trailer for, what's it called? Lollipop, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and Purple Prophet of the Dragon is saying what I've heard you say before when we've talked about this, is that there were a bunch of close-ups, like we knew who we were supposed to be looking at. And as a follow-up to that, I'll add, we got no big open landscapes.
Yes.
We got no sweeping Shire. We got no Mordor. We got no Rivendell. We got no Rohan. We just got stuff that looked like it was shot. What we did get was a picture in Vanity Fair of them shooting a boat scene in a studio. Like, I don't care. Like, that is a waste of space. It is a demotivator. You want to get me excited about Lord of the Rings? Show me the mountains. Show me Rivendell at its height. Show me Numenor. Show me all of these things. Show me the crafting of the ring. Show me show me the freaking story. That's all I want. Instead, we got half the damn trailer was 3 characters that Payne and McKay wrote, not Tolkien. We got Arondir, the elf, the oh god, the first Puerto Rican Lord of the Rings actor. I'm using their words. I'm not being derogatory
No,
for
yes. Yeah.
representation. We
Mhm.
got Princess Diza, who is apparently a shorter version of some type of a gospel singer in Khazad-dûm, because that's what Tolkien needs. And then, of course, we've got the single mother who's, probably disenfranchised by Tolkienian capitalism. We got that thing. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And I reach a certain point where I start raving like this, but I don't know. I just, it's just what's baffling to me again is that this is a shill site that loves everything. They love everything, and they are sounding like we are. They're sounding like the very people that Payne and McKay not too long ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, said had a problem with strong independent women, had a problem with diversity, were all racist, and instead, apparently the Loper can skate.
Yes, absolutely. And like I say, I will be curious to see if they stick with this perspective, if this is something they will continue with, or whether they're going to go back to kissing Amazon's ass and saying how great it is and how progressive it is and everything that as we get more and more information drops about the show. But it is very interesting to see them have this take. And as you say, it just keeps on going down further. They're talking about the timeline. They're talking about what else did they pick up? We're talking
So
about
many
how,
characters.
yep,
So
too
many characters.
exactly.
Yeah, and we talked about that previously, but I think they said there's going to be 24 main characters spread out through 8 episodes in a season. And Nathan, I remember you saying this a couple weeks ago. We were talking about why they did this with the Wheel of Power, or with the Wheel of Woke, the Wheel of Time. Was they divided all of the characters up to make these little CW side stories and these little intrigues where there's this big build up to nothing and it's resolved with no stakes and nothing. And if they try doing that weak sauce with Tolkien, man, I don't even think they know what kind of world of hurt they are, because you can screw around with Robert Jordan and you can, because maybe 1/10, 1/20th of people have read Robert Jordan and of course Brandon Sanderson as well. And no disrespect to Robert Jordan. I mean, come on, my channel, it was founded on Wheel of Time. I will always love Wheel of Time. But to mess with Tolkien, and to turn Tolkien into CW storylines with mediocre CG, with crappy divided up storylines, with modern themes and modern agendas stuck in it, this is going to implode.
Oh, come on. Who doesn't want to watch a show about that Tolkien couldn't write about a single mother in a forbidden elvish interracial relationship? I mean, come on.
Because that's the story that Tolkien really wanted to write. Exactly.
I mean, it was in the subcontext, wasn't it, Valkyrie?
It was in the appendices that he didn't get to. Exactly. Yeah.
But here's the thing to remember. We're not just talking about 2 writers. We're talking about 2 writers who are so successful, they wrote the worst Star Trek movie ever made, and they didn't even get a credit for it on the movie itself.
Right.
Again, I mean, we've talked about this before, but it's like we have to keep repeating the absurdity of this. Just because they keep repeating the lie doesn't mean it's going to stick. If we keep repeating the truth, the thing about the truth is that it's easy to remember. They seem to be pivoting their marketing strategy, because I think calling all of the people who love Tolkien and have loved the books long before even Payne and McKay were even born, racists and phobes, apparently that's not a winning marketing strategy.
Yes.
Well, the other problem that you're running into, that they're gonna, that you mentioned that with Wheel of Time, is you sit there and you break out all these different relationships to present over 8 episodes, and that was presented in a book that covered the span of 6 to 9 months, if I'm remembering the timeline of the first book correctly. When you get to Lord of the Rings, they've condensed 2,000-3,000 years into this series. So you're going to take all and put that in there, and it's just gonna it's going to be a complete mess because you can't mess with the timeline, which is what you've got on the screen right there.
Mhm.
It is going to be chaotic because you can't take all of that culture that Tolkien designed to occur in that time frame and make it like a concentrate orange juice and say that it's better that way.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to take this comment from Anthony Peterson. Hail to you in the chat. Says, I was really disappointed when I found out that they only got the rights for the Lord of the Rings books and the appendices, not the Silmarillion. I knew at that point they can't have a great show. It's true, and the other part is there was this kerfuffle about the rights for The Hobbit. Well, they got the merchandising. You guys keep me honest on this on the panel. They got the merchandising rights for The Hobbit and the distribution rights for The Hobbit, but they didn't get the rights to make The Hobbit itself. Now, is that right?
From what I've heard, yes, and that's what people were very worried about. They were thinking, do they have the rights to remake these films? No, they do not. At the moment, I think it's worth prefacing. Now, whether this could be something that they could get their hands on in the future, quite possibly, unfortunately. I think a lot will hinge on how well, or as in the cases, a lot of us seem to think how badly this show is going to do.
Go ahead, Max.
Oh, I was just going to say to Anthony real quick, my man. I actually I might say it's probably a blessing that they weren't given Silmarillion.
Yes.
I know
Yeah,
that you probably want a
seriously.
better show. Even if they were given all the rights, it would have been even worse, my man. I think in this regard, I think we should actually be thankful that they weren't given Silmarillion rights. And we should at least wait and see. Well, not wait and see for Amazon's sake, but wait and see what the Tolkien estate does later with those rights. Because let's hope that they get put into the right hands.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it last night, Max, when you were going through, you were comparing the Tolkien Society symposiums of the past, say from 2012, 2013 to current year Tolkien symposiums, and it was like it was literally like someone flipped the wrong switch on the CERN super collider, and we did go down a wormhole into this dark timeline because one side from the 2013 side was talking about things that fan would love, fan appreciation, getting into detail, totally nerdgasming out on the details of elves and dwarves and armor and all those things. On the other side, you've got, do you remember what some of that crazy wackadoodle stuff was, Max, that they were talking about in the current year symposiums?
Yeah, so it was actually a correlation between WonderCon. So WonderCon is another comic convention here out in California, and I was basically showing the differences between the panels of 2013, which was the latest I could go back to as far as showing actual dates and times, and then what it looked like for 2022. And in 2013, for the panels showing at WonderCon, it was like comics across every medium, and it was talking about and then there was another panel that was talking about, let's see, it was like comics, or how to keep comics relevant. And that was interesting topic of discussion. There was another one that was about the philosophy of Batman and getting into the mind of Batman. That was a cool panel. So all kinds of different creatively minded and sculpted panels. And then the 2022 panels that we see are from the second WonderCon opens till when it closes. All the panels seem to be much more activist driven. So it's how to support these certain activist rights in the comic book medium, and how you can help, or like showing off certain creators that have been oppressed and how they've overcome their struggle in comic books, and which is in and of itself not a bad thing. But when every single panel was just that, it deterred everyone else who just wants to learn more about creativity in comics away from those panels. So it was a WonderCon comparison, I guess. But the same thing could be said for Tolkien, because those Tolkien Society, I think we saw those a few months back, maybe 6 months back.
Mhm.
One was the heteronormity of Gondor or something like
Yeah.
that, you know, and I was like,
Yeah.
that was one of the talking points. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I've offered to subsidize Max sneaking in and getting some spy cam footage of this Tolkien symposium at WonderCon, because I think it's going to be a real doozy. It's going to be a
Yeah.
real doozy. Yeah, you know, the thing about all this is we go back to what they did to I know I do this, but what they did to Wheel of Time, and then how they said, well, we're just going to make this change. We're just going to age the characters up. This isn't going to be Robert Jordan. This isn't going to be the books. This is going to be the next time these characters are reborn. So I'm wondering when they're going to trot out that old chestnut of, this is in the vein of Tolkien. This is not actually Tolkien. And therefore it is just activist sludge, goo, social engineering rammed down our throats with a plunger. Because that's what I really am afraid this is going to be. And again, I circle back to that interview with Joe Rogan that he had today, talking with those people from, in corporate America. Well, what do you think Amazon Film Studio is? Amazon is as corporate can be. And you can bet that they hire those people for those same ideological reasons, to do ideological things. And what I'm concerned about is that this Lord of the Rings project, much like Wheel of Time, hitting the ESG scores, making sure their activism is represented, making sure that their diversity and inclusion playbook is hit, all come well before the story. So Purple, you just pulled something up. Thank you for that.
Yes, just wanted to grab this from the Tolkien Society. So this has got a couple of the papers from the 2021. So they were papers may consider, but are not limited to, representation in Tolkien's work, race, gender, sexuality, disability, class, religion, age, etc.
Mamma
You know what that
mia.
is? But you know what all this is? This is intersectionalism.
Mm-hmm.
This
Exactly.
is the aggrieved victimhood hierarchy fully put on display with Tolkien.
And we've got a few more. A great one that I guess was really well received: Tolkien's approach to colonialism and post-colonialism.
I'm censoring myself here. I'm not swearing out loud.
No, dude, we're 2 hours in, Gray. You just go ahead. Just let loose.
We've got the absolute classic: diversity and representation in Tolkien academia and leadership.
Wow.
And
Another
then a bit
self-insert.
Of
further
course,
down.
yeah.
I-
Who couldn't forget these classic works that Tolkien wrote about?
And this one caught my eye as well: Gondor in Transition, a brief introduction to transgender realities in Lord of the Rings.
Time out. No, time out. Okay.
Insane.
Now I know this is a
Insanity.
contentious. I know this is a contentious thing, and I know I could lose my channel over this because, oh my God, maybe I'm speaking common sense. But for those of us not born in the last, like let's say 20 years, we read Tolkien without the benefit of all of this deconstructing it, without tearing out pages, without blacking out with marker things that we found problematic. We read Tolkien as Tolkien. We read a fantasy story. We weren't looking for, I need to see myself in the Shire. I need to see myself in Rivendell. I need to see, what the hell kind of a person does that? We went to the story to forget who and what we were. We went into the story to escape, much as Christopher Tolkien says. I simply don't understand this inversion of what it is to be a reader of a book or an appreciator of artwork or of cinema. I don't understand. All right, that's the end of my rant. Somebody else's turn.
Yeah, you do that. If you go in and, let me read this here, go in and look for transgender, or go in looking for physical disabilities or all that stuff. If I'm looking for the impacts of intersectionality among the ranks of orcs, where do I have time to enjoy the book?
You don't.
You absolutely don't, and you lose all of this stuff. You actually lose the ability to look and see the mythology behind that Tolkien built into the story, and that's part of the enjoyment, to sit there and you get done reading Lord of the Rings. Well, do you have time for the appendices? Absolutely. Okay. Do you have time for the Silmarillion? Absolutely. You go in and you find out the depth behind the Lord of the Rings, and then you go back and read the Lord of the Rings again. It's just that much better.
Exactly.
It's building upon itself. But if all you're sitting there is looking for talking points, then you've lost the purpose of reading a story, period. I don't care if it's Thomas the Train or Lord of the Rings. You've lost the point.
Let me get to this super chat, and then I want you guys to continue. This is from Daniel. Hail to you, Daniel. This is a $20 super chat. Says, I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are on prior true Tolkien fans, especially YouTubers who are now promoting Amazon's perversion. We all know that they must know better. I can't see an innocent excuse. Am I being too harsh? Hail you, Daniel.
Nope.
I'm gonna let me give you something truly Tolkienian. Let's see, what haven't I done? Here we go.
We have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. There are other forces at work in this world further besides the will of evil.
Hail to you again, Daniel, and we will get into this answer, but I want to allow Max and Gray to continue with this, with what we were talking about as far as the lunacy of, in my opinion, the lunacy and utter, clinical narcissism of devoting. Can you imagine devoting your academic air quotes career in this being what you have to show for it? I have two words: trade school. Just saying. Which one has which graduate of those institutions will add more to the world? I know my answer. Go ahead, Max. You guys, I didn't mean to cut you off. Thank you, Daniel. We'll follow up on this in 1 second.
Yeah, so I've just been championing the bit because you guys are just bringing up such good points. But while Purple was reading that, I had this foreword from the Fellowship of the Ring, because I've been rereading the books, and this paragraph sticks in my head. So I'm going to read this real quick. This foreword is from Tolkien himself. And Alasia, if you're still in the chat, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'll just read the first few sentences. It says, "As for any inner meaning or message, it has in the intention of the author none. It is neither allegorical nor topical. As the story grew, it put down roots into the past and threw out unexpected branches, but its main theme was settled from the outset by the inevitable choice of the ring as the link between and the Hobbit." You don't need to, like, that's your thesis for all of this stuff. Whenever anyone is saying, like, oh well, Gondor in transition, blah blah, allegorical. It's not what he meant. Like any type of this activism that is being brought on and people trying to bring a different perspective, you just read that passage and you go, it has in the intention of the author none for a meaning or message behind anything other than the story. And it's very clearly stated by Tolkien here. So it's like, I don't know what else these people could be seeing. So
I'm going to pull a pin on a grenade here. And I've been wondering this, and you guys don't hold back on this. We got that article that was subsidized by the University of Glasgow with the two air quotes Tolkien scholars who were approaching this from a third or fourth wave feminist perspective in deconstructing Tolkien like a toddler with a machine gun in a window factory. And you, Max, just summed up everything that we knew about Tolkien, that Tolkien himself said in interviews in the 60s, that his son Christopher said in interviews in the early 90s, that Shippey has said that numerous other scholars have said up until the past, 5-10 years? What would you have to say to those two feminist scholars who have taken it upon themselves to correct the wrongs of Tolkien and how wrong Tolkien was for creating what he did? What would you guys say to someone like that?
It's almost like they're doing it for clickbait, to make a sort of modern thing for it. They're being controversial for controversial sake, just to get like the attention. That's all I can think, because, or maybe they're just not clever enough to, actually analyze it, from a different perspective, from a story perspective. So yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you think, Max? Crazy.
Yeah, I think you're right. They definitely could be doing this as just a means to upset a fan base. I don't necessarily think that they believe in a lot of this stuff, because if so, they would actually be their representation quota. They wouldn't need to virtue signal that. They would just put these characters in and be proud and be very confident in their work. But it seems like they're continually trying to prove to us, look at how great we are, look at what we're doing, blah blah. And it's I don't think they're confident in their work. And so, like you said, Gray, they're trying to get these clickbaity reactions from fans and hoping that maybe that'll drive up the importance or the significance of this show. But I think it's actually might be having the negative effect.
I think you're right as well, and we've talked about it in the past as well. The rise of narcissism, that people absolutely have to see themselves as they are in these characters. You can't imagine yourself as anything else other than who you are in real life. And one of the ones that caught my eye as I was scrolling said the invisible other, Tolkien's dwarf women and the lack of feminine. And this is talking about how there are no real feminine or female dwarf characters, or the whole point of the female dwarves is they are supposed to look like male dwarfs. So are they deliberately at this point missing the point, or are they do you think that they're just that dumb?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it is a little bit of both. There was a great video on PragerU this morning I was watching, and it was just a short clip, but one of the gentlemen there, he was a black gentleman, and he was discussing how he doesn't care if, and this is just one person, so this doesn't represent every minority, but for him, he was saying that if someone actually cared about him and his culture and his race, it wouldn't be just, oh, let's put this black person into this show. They would be donating money towards education, or they would be donating money towards areas of the United States that is more impoverished or something. Like, they would be doing these things to help these communities to actually better succeed, as opposed to just, let's throw this character into a film and say that we've done our part for that community, because it seems very insensitive and it seems very disingenuous. And so the gentleman was saying, I don't care if I see myself on screen. How about you actually help me and my culture and my friends and my family by using some of that money to do this or that or whatnot. So I thought that was kind of an interesting take on what we're seeing in Hollywood a lot.
I agree. And, we talked about it a couple weeks back where, you don't change the world by your tweets and your dissertation written tearing down something predicated upon, like intersectionality or neo-Marxism. You want to change the world, hold a door open for somebody. You want to change the world, pay for the person's lunch in front of you. That's how you make the world a better place.
Yes, quite literally put your money where your mouth is. Yeah.
Speaking of paying for someone's lunch, I'm going to hide this message. Zaxx, you are back. How's it going, brother?
Good.
Hey.
Good, guys. Sorry, I just got finished with Jada Pinkett Smith. She's a lot of women to take.
No.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for a fun night.
Good night, everybody.
Oh
Thanks for
God!
Yeah.
Wow.
That's because
I
Will
was-
It's all
Smith was
that-
threatening to hit him, so he took care of that issue.
Well, that's right. I had to finish her quick.
Wow. It's all
Yeah.
that fresh mountain air. It's all that fresh mountain air in British Columbia. I
It
envy
is.
you that, brother. Yeah.
First of all, I'll have you know, I went to a place called the Fire Hall. I had this big bacon cheeseburger with steak sauce and a side of poutine. So you can take your KFC back.
Okay.
And
I thought you were talking about Jada for a second there. Never mind.
oh, there's that too. Yeah. And I was worried you guys weren't being toxic enough if I'm not here. And was anyone objectifying Purple while I was gone? Anyone?
I think Gray was.
Good.
Yeah,
thank
Gray
you.
did a little bit.
There was a bit of objective.
Well, and there was a super chat that was telling her that sex sells. So
Yeah.
All right.
This is true.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But
I'm
we
good
could use
now.
a little. We could use a little bit more, Zach. So if you
Yeah,
could, kind
we
of,
All right.
you know.
Well, speaking of getting in that vein, let's get to the $20 super chat because I think this is where we can all really shine together. And of course, we're going to let some of the other stars get the spotlight while Zaxx and I are hidden behind this dumpster, this billboard, this beautiful display. We're not doing anything weird. We're not conducting any transactions or anything illegally. But so getting back to what Daniel was saying, he wants to know what our thoughts are on prior Tolkien fans. And let's say Tolkien.nets too, especially YouTubers that are now promoting this Amazon perversion. We all know, well, we believe that maybe they feel differently. Why are they doing this? Why do we think so many people are shilling for Amazon? And thank you again, Daniel. And I'll open that up to anybody. Zaxx, you're new on the block. What's your take on that? Why are people doing this like they did with Wheel of Time? Is it the tote bags and the coffee cups? What is it?
I think it's they live in an echo chamber and they want a pat on the back, and they think that by destroying the fandoms of people that they consider toxic, they're doing good. That's what I think.
That is an interesting take. I mean, it certainly makes sense. Purple?
Yes, I would agree with that as well. And I think the best example of that is to see who's changed their tune in regards to Lord of the Rings. OneRing.net springs to mind. So how much access is being granted to people that shill, I think would be a good way to look at it.
Yeah, Prophet of the Dragon also raises this. I think there's a very sizist attitude with this leftist intersectional feminist coven. You know, where is the seminar a deeper look into hobbits and the oppression of untall they thems? I want to know where that panel is. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm sure
Max,
Peter Dinklage won't be watching.
Yep.
No,
There
no.
it is. I was waiting for the Peter Dinklage joke.
There it
He would be
is.
running the panel. Yeah.
Hi, Peter.
right, there we go.
Hi, Peter.
Don't sit on him, Gray. Don't sit on him.
Oh, sorry, shit.
Max, go save the show with your classy take.
Oh no. So was the question? Do we think, or why do we think that these YouTube shills are doing this, or was the question why do we
general.
think the Amazon shills?
No,
are doing
why do we think people who were formerly, let's say, unbiased, trustworthy, authentic truth-telling Tolkien YouTubers and let's say sites that we all referred to like the OneRing.net, why are they all suddenly, going along with what Amazon is doing?
I wonder if it's a bit of fear. I wonder if it's a bit of, I don't want to be associated with this group of people. Therefore, or in order to do that, I have to say this thing. Regardless of what I think, I just don't want to be associated with this type of people. So, and therefore, like I said, I have to promote this awful show. I don't know. I wonder if it is a bit of fear. I think both Purple and Zaxx hit it on the head as well, as far as like echo chambers and also getting some insider scoop stuff and kind of shilling out that way. But yeah, I wonder if it's also a bit of they just don't want to be called an ist or an ism or a phobe or whatever it is.
Who you calling those people? That's all I want to know. Man.
I'm one of those. No,
I know, and that's why I said it. You know what I thought as soon as you made that analogy, which was really good, by the way, was I just remember. You know what I think? All these, they don't want to be lumped in with all the toxicity, those toxic Russian troll bots, like for The Last Jedi. Do you think there are people that give those labels in this lie that keeps being told again and again about fandoms that reject subpar, inferior works that are in no way representative of the source material? Do you think that's part of what this is they don't want to get labeled as the other in the fandoms?
Usually I would have said yes, but the backlash has been pretty much universal with this Lord of the Rings thing, and it is very heartening to see. The one thing that we've talked about time and time again is how pretty much everybody is on the same page with this, whether you are a normie fan of Tolkien, whether you are a super fan of Tolkien, not the influencer type super fans, obviously.
Yeah. Nathan, what's your take on this? You always have a cagey take. Even though you don't have a Hobbit pipe, we'll listen to you tonight.
Yeah, I think it's less now wanting to go along and not be labeled, because we've gone through that as a society with the Star Wars stuff. We've gone through it with Marvel. We've gone through it with Wheel of Time, and people have become more numb to the just flippant name calling. So the words racist, bigot, et cetera, have all lost real meaning in the whole discussion. And so I don't know that that's I believe it's, but it's not the big thing. I think that it's just a lack of character. You want to be caught up in the popular thing, and so you go ahead and go with it because, hey, it's Amazon and it's Lord of the Rings, so I'm going to go ahead and like it anyway. And then when you get caught out in the middle of it, then enters in the pride factor of, I don't want to be wrong, so I'm just going to stick to my guns, rather than evaluating it and realizing, is this really the right position? I think that's a big part.
It's so crazy, Nathan, because what you literally did was describe the people that were the antagonists of every 80s movie. The conformists, the jocks. I'm not kidding. Like, you guys remember those 80 movies? It was always about the individual making the individual choice, doing the right thing, putting in the work, being alone, sticking to your guns, knowing why you like something, willing to defend it, waiting to get your ass kicked over it.
Like Footloose.
Now, well, no, not like Footloose. No, like Red Dawn.
Okay.
Footloose. No one says Footloose on this show. Never. Okay. Like Red Dawn, okay? Or Rocky, or, I mean, just, speaking truth to power. I don't know, is that just a generational thing where that was so ingrained into us as a child of the 70s and 80s that I find my brain cannot wrap my head around this inversion of what the hero's journey was. And the hero's journey started with that first step of saying no, and here's why. And I don't know. I mean, that's another conversation, and that's a video I want to make with people on this panel, is talking about why are we getting the messages that we are, and how it affects people's views, and how it is truly disrupting and dividing us in Western civilization. But that is not this show. What's your guys' take on my what's your take on my lunacy, on my Alex Jones like take on that?
Well, you said something interesting about the the tinfoil cap. You said something interesting about the hero's journey that I whenever I think of the hero's journey, I always think of the scene of Luke Skywalker looking out onto Tatooine and just having this feeling of I'm meant for something greater than this. I'm meant for something,
Yeah.
he's looking at the sunrise or whatnot. And he's just that's the start of the hero's journey. And like you said, saying no to yes, thank you. Saying no to the normalcy of life or normalcy of the media that we're getting, saying
Yeah.
no to whatever it is that you're unhappy with, and knowing that you're meant for more, knowing that you can strive for more. The only reason why Ragnar Lothbrok was ever successful in his Viking career was because he was ambitious, because he always wanted to do more, and because he wanted to grow more, learn more, explore more. And I think people are just creatively bankrupt in that regard
Yeah.
because they don't want, nor do they think they need the hero's journey. They think that their evolution of these stories, these growing of these stories, making better of these stories is actually devaluing them.
Mhm.
So you had brought up the hero's journey, and I just thought it's an interesting concept to think about, because the only way that you get that story, the struggle and the victorious win at the end, is by rejecting the
Yes.
normalcy and
Yes.
overcoming it and rising above it. And we just don't see that with creators anymore.
Yes, people seem to be terrified today to walk a path that they might have to walk alone. People want to be part of the group. They want to be surrounded by like-minded people. We don't have that, within people anymore, especially young people, the ability to strive and say, you know what, as much as I love my friends, I love my family, maybe if I went in this direction, I could find myself, I could be a whole new person and then come back. We don't seem to see that. It's more safe spaces. We've heard that term thrown around a lot.
I'm not going to do the thing, but I'm going to do the thing. All of this, all, all of this has happened before. I have heard all of this before. 30 years ago, every damn thing we're seeing. Everything. The safe spaces, the intersectional politics, the shaming of Caucasian heterosexual Christian people, all of it. All of this has happened before. Spoiler alert, has ever. This doesn't work. It goes bankrupt. It is like a cancer, like TRW says, that infiltrates and quickly spreads so that you don't just have it in one region. It becomes a systemic thing that causes total organ failure within an institution. And I really pray to God not within a society or a civilization. And I really hope we get away from it, and that is as close to politics as I'm going to get. But what we're seeing in pop culture is an absolute manifestation, and I will come right up to this line, of everything that we are seeing in the real world right now. And I am convinced that is not by accident. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I think the hero's journey requires the hero to take a step out of line, which is something that's being strongly discouraged right now. And it goes against the inclusion and conformity narrative that we're dealing with, which is everyone's the same. Everyone should be the same. There's no differences. Don't take chances. Be safe. And that's really what they're telling us with the inclusion policies now.
Everybody has to be a winner. There can't be any losers. We all, we're all equal. We're all as good as each other. It's crazy, isn't it? Guys, about that term, safe space, I really severely, strongly dislike that, but you'll have to sum up. My safe space is where I am right now with you, lords and ladies, in the chat, and holding a copy of the Fellowship of the Ring in my hand. Oh, I feel very, very safe.
As you should, rightfully so.
Thank you.
And I would argue that this isn't necessarily just an echo chamber, because I guess for other people, a safe space would be otherwise known as an echo chamber. But as you guys have seen on my show last night, there are people that come into my chat who outwardly are vehemently in disagreement with me multiple times.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay. Yeah. And I address it. And you don't disagree with me much. Maybe on some comic books or something, but yeah, so it's kind of interesting for some of these people to say, oh well, my safe space is here or there. when really it's just an echo chamber. And I wouldn't say that about this space. I think this is a fun space instead of a safe space, because
Yeah.
what we're talking about is not safe at any moment. We've seen
Oh,
it.
no.
We can be nuked. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I
Yes.
mean absolutely. And part of the problem with being in a safe space means that if you never get punched in the mouth, you don't know what it's like to fight, because
Mm.
you don't get to win all your fights. You have to know what it's like to lose a fight to know how important it is to win one. And if you're protected from not getting punched in the mouth, metaphorically or literally, then you're willing to run your mouth at anything because there's no cost. You can harm whomever you want emotionally because you're politically right, and there's no morality. There's no cost to it. And I'm not saying that maybe some of the gladiator games of what it was like being in a lower income, middle class, rural American factory town in the 70s and 80s, that's the best way to have a childhood. But now I wouldn't trade it for anything, because you figure out real quick what to
And by
stand
the
up
way,
for and why to get your ass kicked sometimes. Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, and absolutely, man. I mean, the reason why sports are such a big point of contention right now with Leah Thomas is because if people don't grow up in those areas or those time frames, sports normally teaches that same type of mentality of competition, of winning,
Yes.
of losing,
Yes.
and when you take that away, whether it's with people in biological male or female sports, or taking it away by giving awards just to everyone, you lose that same competitive nature. And like you said, Salty, you lose the ability to rise above a loss or getting knocked in the jaw and
Yeah.
understanding what that feels like.
Yeah.
And by the way, real quick, I didn't mean to say that this isn't a safe space, Gray, because I agree with you, though. I feel much more comfortable here than I would anywhere else. So I agree with you.
What are
on
you
that
talking
point.
about? Gray just sat on Peter Dinklage. We don't know if he's we don't know if he's alive or dead. Gray, you better report that to the authorities. Don't just stick
That's
him in the
true.
trash can. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
I thought that was Peter Dinklage using Gray as a puppet.
Oh,
Ooh, I wonder why I was doing so good.
Wait. Jack Murphy was weeks ago. Let it go, guys. Come on. All right.
Ooh.
Let it go.
Oh,
I don't mean to interrupt our flow, but Daniel has generously given us, you guys are the best tonight. We have the best chat. I mean, you guys are absolutely amazing. I want to thank everybody for your kind words. I didn't think that so many people would come back so quickly and so passionately for Wheel of Time content. That makes my heart sing. Thank you so much for that. Both videos are about to cross 1,000, so thank you for that.
well done.
This is from Daniel for $10 US. And Zaxx, thank you. But hold your fire there, brother. He says, speaking of repeats, Max's reading of Tolkien's Forward reminds me of all the attempts to, air quotes, reinterpret the Bible into arguments like Jesus would be for X current political thing. Thank you, Daniel. Let me give you a video. Let me give you a clip, and then I will allow Max to compose his thoughts. Let's do this one.
Why, Bilbo Baggins? Perhaps it is because I'm afraid. It gives me courage.
I just, everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid of looking like a fool. Everybody's afraid for stepping on a line and having 1,000 heads turn and look at you, and you are the 1,001st person in that crowd. But the only way you know who you really are, and part of being a human being, is being able to know what your moral compass is. And that's one thing that Nathan, Amanda Manethrin, said about a character that those of us in the Wheel of Time fandom know quite well, and that would be Perrin. And Perrin had to do things he didn't want to do to protect the people that he loved. He was always told he was too big. He needed to be careful. He needed to think about what he was doing because he was a blacksmith's apprentice. He was a big guy. But just because he was a big guy, he wasn't a bully. He wasn't a brute. He didn't use his size to intimidate people. And part of the ideology that we're dealing with here looks at somebody who is a big guy. Like, most of the guys on this panel were over 6 feet tall. Max, you played collegiate football. I'm 6'5". I played sports too, not as well as Max, but people used to look at me when I was in college and then say, look at all of your privilege for being 6'5", a white heterosexual male. And that was in 1991. And here we are, we're dealing with this same mentality of judging people just by the most superficial and meaningless of qualities. And I have a hard time with it. But Max, Purple, go ahead.
I was just saying, you bring up a really good point about bullying as well, since that seems to have been, phased out of schools, and people have been told, don't be a bully, or don't engage with bullies. Sometimes being bullied can be character building. If you stand up to somebody who is, bullying you, and you get one up on them, and they then leave you alone, that is an incredible feeling,
No,
and it's bizarre that they want this gone.
Well, no one can give you what they claim you can be given. No one can give you self-respect. No one can give you peace of mind. No one can give you a sense of acceptance of yourself. The way that you get that is by getting into the ring, into the arena. And now I'm going to go off on a tangent. And there's a famous speech by Theodore Roosevelt, who I have a painting of in my office. And it says, to the man in the arena, and Max is nodding. You guys check that speech out. It is something that defined what Western civilization in America was. It was a huge part of what the Western archetype of the hero was. It was getting into the arena. It was doing the right thing. It was standing up for what you believe in. And it's not whether you win or lose. It's the fact that you actually dared and you went in there and you tried to do the right thing. Max, I'm going to let you speak to this Daniel comment.
I was nodding my head to the Roosevelt quote because we had that plastered in our offices in the Marine Corps where I was stationed at, and huge big quote above the office. So pretty cool. But yeah, in regards to this, I actually had a friend of mine. We were talking about this exact thing of like people like to assign Christ in this political party or that political party that he's red or blue, and it's such hubris. And I would say that I am a Christ follower. With the recent political things that have been happening, what my friend and I both agreed upon, and he is he's in his seminary school right now, so he is learning a lot about this kind of stuff. We both came to this agreement that Christ would neither be red or blue. He would be a color that is much greater, much more grand than we could even fathom as humans. It would be a color that would bring everyone together, no matter if they were red or blue or any of that bullshit. It would be a color beyond belief. And so for people who are Christ followers, trust me when I say he does not have a political association or agenda.
No.
And it would be perverted to put him. Yes, correct. Thank you. So,
not only that, but I mean, he said one thing: give Caesar unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, which means pay your taxes. That was his big political move. At the same time, he threw somebody called the Pharisees out of the temples for trying to rip people off. So that doesn't make him a leftist agitator who's going to set Seattle on fire and create a occupied zone somewhere. That just means don't be a dick. And we can talk about other religions. We can, because that's what my minor is in from, a million years ago. But the big thing he said is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I don't see any political parties doing that right now. I'm just going to say that.
It's all gotcha games.
Let me get to the man, the myth. Let me get to the man, the myth, the legend. I got to tell you, if you have not checked out Culture Casino lately, he is rocking a beard that would make Grizzly Adams blush. You are looking fine, sir. Very fine. And I say that in a heteronormative way. This is a $5 super chat. He says, the Crowder Change My Mind segment on biological males in women's sports was amazing. That popped up, Culture, and I didn't see it. But now, tonight, after I pour a little bourbon, I am going to go watch that because that sounds fantastic. Culture, drop that. Did anybody on the panel see that? Hold that
two
thought.
Parts. Go ahead.
What? Go ahead.
Yeah, go with the video drop.
Okay, Culture, I'm going to give you something really good. What can I drop for my man? Here you go.
You should have stayed dead.
Why do I think that's not the Elrond we're going to get in the Rings of Power? That's all I'm going to say.
That is so
Yeah, it
That's,
will be.
that's
What a
my
scene.
Elrond. That's my Elrond. That's my Elrond. You remember the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring when he's there on the battlefield. He is standing there next to the elven archers, dirty, battered armor. This is a man who took the field, who knows how to kick some ass. He's not a, air quotes, stunning political tactician.
Whatever that means. Yes.
Oh yeah, he
He's
was
not-
definitely
he's
he
not
was
the
definitely
Hillary-
doing that for political capital.
He's not the Hillary Clinton of the second age. That's all I'm going to say. Hail to you, Culture
Oh.
Casino. You guys go ahead.
Just had the
Did anybody?
best mental image.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop talking. Did anybody see that Crowder clip that Casino talked about? Hail to you, Culture.
Yeah, it's he's done 2 of the 3. I think he's got a 3-part series. The third part's coming out, I think he said April 11th. So you can see the 2 that he did release so far on his channel. It's really good. The first one was a good discussion with someone. They didn't agree on any of it, but at least there was a civil discussion. The second one was this journo that came on, totally disgraced himself for 20 minutes, and then left thinking that he had gotten the one up on him and tried to dox him after that. So,
And let me say,
Foolishness.
Nathan, your hat outweighs his in spades. I must say that your
better than my head.
Yeah, I'm sure your hat is not the only thing that is better than that guy. This
Yeah,
if you guys
underneath
want,
I'm sporting the Jada Pinkett look.
oh, there you go. If I would say if you guys want like more drama, definitely watch the second one because it's a little bit more heated and the guy is not he's an interesting gentleman. So
Is he not the sharpest tool in the shed, Max? Is that kind of what it is?
I think he thinks he is, and that's why it was interesting to watch. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan. I mean, I know you watched this as well, but
I've had the undersides of spoons that cut deeper.
That's a great insult. I like that a lot.
I love this show. I love you guys. I am having so much fun tonight. Thank you all for being here. This is just one of those moments where I want to have a moment of gratitude. Thank you all, and thank you in chat. This is wonderful. Thank you guys. What about you, Zach?
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the wonderful thing about, I think the biggest point out of both of these the episodes of it so far are the fact that it's really gone out of the way to showcase the glossary and definition gymnastics that the other side has to do with their argument, and they can't make sense of it themselves. They can't line up terminology at all. It's absolutely impossible, and it absolutely highlights that really, really well.
You know, I said something last night, and I sometimes say things that are cool, but it was actually, and I'm going to try and pull it up because I don't want to butcher it. It's one of your Marine buddies, Max, told me I needed to make bumper stickers that had this saying on it, and I'm actually working on that right now. And this is really what I think, and this is what I said on Max's show last night. As I said, we live in the darkest timeline, where useless degrees are seeking to manufacture supply for their limitless grievance demand. I mean, and it's like, what are we going to deconstruct next? Are we going to say parking meters are symbolic of colonialism, or French fries are symbolic of trans issues from the Phoenician Empire. I mean, I'm literally at a point where, can you guys just go to trade school? We need electricians. We really need underwater welders. We really, and you can make a lot of money, and you probably would be a lot happier doing something that actually is productive for society. But I better stop because I like my channel, and Mama Susan doesn't like talk like that. So
Yeah,
let me get.
great.
Go ahead.
Oh, you can get the super chat.
Oh, let me get to Nico Glock. This is one of my new Wolf brothers. You guys are the best. Again, if you want to be part of the interview series that I'm doing regarding Wheel of Time, hit me on Twitter or hit me in my email, which is on my channel about page. It is Salty Salish, C, all lowercase, C as in Corey, which is my first name. So he says, and what more can you say? Hello all. Well, hello to you, Nico Glock. You are in the right place at the right time. You're the man for the mission. And yes, I'm using gendered language because I'm not mentally ill. Let me give you one from let's do this one from the Bag of Tricks.
Not a lot.
Go hit him!
I love me some Rohan. I really love me some Rohan. Max, you look like you got something. You're going to say something over there with that grin and that thoughtful, scholarly face of yours.
Oh gosh, no. I'm just excited every time I see your Lord of the Rings clips. I have to get a little bit closer to the monitor to really engage with them. I will say, hail to Culture. He shouted out the Vegas meetup. It was great meeting you, brother, and I look forward to our next one. We'll definitely hang out more. So,
I want to shout out Resurrection 117 in the chat, Wolf Brother, and the person whose name I'll never pronounce. So it's up to you, Salty.
No, I'll do it. And here's the thing. Sorry, and I don't mean to boomer this. I'm multitasking. Look, can you pull it up for me, Zaxx?
Yep.
Sorry, dude.
It's
wait, I got it. Here we go. So this name is really important, and this is Doviande se Tovia Sagain. Time to roll the dice. That is time to roll the dice in what is called the Old Tongue in the world of Robert Jordan in the Wheel of Time. And that saying is on a flag of one of the characters that both Resurrection 117, Hail to You, My Wolf Brother, as well as Aldan did in the last video that I dropped for a character called Matrim Cawthon, which was fully intersectionally feminist, deconstructed to the point where every trope to use against men was applied to him. You know what Matt was? Matt was the Campbellian archetype of the rogue. Handsome, dashing, not a care in the world, loved to have a dice, loved to have a drink. But when it came time to work, when it came time to fight for his friends, he was unyielding. And what did they do in Amazon's adaptation? Well, they made him into a degenerate loser. So hail to you. Toviande se Tovia Sagain. Hail to you. So cheers. Yeah, Wheel of Time, guys. I'm going to recommend it till I'm on my deathbed. It's a really good story. So we've got another super chat. This is $6.99 Canadian. We got the loonies in the house.
Real money.
Hail to real money with like see-through windows. It's actually cool. I really, I have a lot of Canadian silver maple leafs. Beautiful coins. Just saying. Silver.
We're all about see-through up here in Canada.
It's true. I've heard that about you and your peekaboo chaps, Zaxx.
Yeah.
$6.99 Canadian super chat says, "Oh, look at that! International Man of Mystery, Gray. Check it out."
Can you see the eye in the pyramid? Oh, I'm joking.
I can't. I'm still looking for Peter Dinklage's body. No. $6.99 Canadian says, "Hail to Salty, Gray, Purple, Max, Zaxx in the chat." Well, hail to you, Michael Salo. It's great to see you again. And I need to jump over here. What can we give our man Michael. It's great to see you. I mean, legit, great to see you. This one's for you.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the red dawn.
Never gets old. Two Towers never gets old. You know, I
Michael,
struggle with which. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, brother. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say something that Two Towers, I still think is one of the best movies, but I still can't decide which of the three movies is the best. I just can't.
I was going to say Michael is a great guy. He's a huge supporter of my channel. So thank you for coming over here and supporting our show, Michael. And if you guys want to see a cool setup, Michael had I think it was our show or my show or something like that. He had it on like his television, and then he had an iPad with like just chat on it. And then he had his phone that had like another YouTube video. He's got such a rad setup, and it was so cool to see us on like a big screen. So thank you to Michael. He's a huge supporter.
I respect that because that's how I do my premieres. When I set them in the morning, I do it between meetings, and then I put it up on my big 4K TV so I can watch, and I see the chat, and then I type on my laptop just because I want to get the full effect of that. So I respect that, man. I mean, totally. And this is again from Toviande Se Tovia Sagain, Moraine, air quotes, Luz Theron and the 100 male Aes Sedai thought they could contain dark. Oh God. You guys are going to make me have a stroke. So anyway, what this is that Moiraine, who was, if you watched Wheel of Time, the character that they showed on the screen was essentially a gender studies major from Smith. And that was not what Moraine was in the books. Moraine was not this raging, man-hating woman. Just leave it there. She took the reason why the whole story of the Wheel of Time was going, and that was Luz Theron, who saved the world. But he saved the world after the women refused to help him. All of the females that were magic users refused to help him, and the world was going to end, and Luz Theron made a sacrifice. He threw the Hail Mary, and it worked, except that it destroyed magic for all men going forward. And that wouldn't have happened if the women hadn't let him down and stabbed him in the back. But that's not the story that Amazon is telling. The arrogance, also Moraine. Let's go directly to the Dark One's prison. Yeah, this is the kind of storytelling that we got from a 15-book series that was written by Robert Jordan, as well as one of the best-selling current modern authors out there, Brandon Sanderson, who, if I'm not mistaken, just made $30 million by telling people he wrote a couple of books. Didn't even tell them what it was about. But I'm sure Amazon knows better than those fantasy authors. So hail to you. You guys, I'm trying to bounce around, and we're doing great on this one, but go ahead.
Can I take this one, Salty?
Please.
Super chat from Daniel. Okay. If the 3 Wheel of Time leads were the last men on Earth, purple, who would you choose?
You know what? This is where my Wheel of Time knowledge absolutely falls down. But I've been told, do not watch the show, read the books. So are we talking the leads as shown in the TV show, or as represented as they should be in the actual writing?
Very well done. Very well played, Purple.
Great counter
Excellent
question.
parry, Purple. Excellent parry. Yep.
Oh, she is.
But I promise I will read them.
I'm impressed. She's not just a pretty face.
I am busy scrolling through my endless amount of Wheel of Time clips that I use, trying to find an example of that. But let's just say this. Let's just say that. Oh God, I gotta close this. Sorry about that restream. So Daniel, again, thank you for the $5. So here's the question: would you, Purple, hypothetically speaking, would you prefer the rogue who is a military tactician and great with a quarterstaff, who loves to drink and loves to gamble and has a twinkle in his eye? Or would you prefer the tall, dark, and handsome, muscular axe-wielding type who has the long beard and whose eyes turn amber because he has an affinity with wolves. Kind heart, but when it starts, he is all go berserker, otherwise calm, cool, and collected. Or would you prefer a fiery redhead who is amazing with the sword, has magical abilities, but the weight of the world upon his shoulders?
Oh, now those are some tough choices. Now, usually I would go for a redhead because they're running off us, but number 2 ticks a lot of the right boxes for me.
That's
Boom.
me. That's me.
Karen.
I win.
Well done. Well done.
Zaxx.
Cheers. Daniel,
So-
you definitely got your $5
You
worth on
did.
that question. Hail to you.
But if you want to look,
Thank you,
if you
Daniel.
want to talk about the show, I can describe all 3 quickly for you. Do you want a guy who cries twice a day or once a day?
No, and one might be a birthing person. Let's be honest about it too. Okay.
True, you're right. Yes, that's correct.
This is where you go on YouTube for the class. We have it all here. We've got it all.
We do.
Literary. That was fun. I like it. You guys in chat, keep bringing
was
those
great.
questions for Purple so that we can sit here and put her on the spot just because why not? So yeah, that was brilliant.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Execute Order 66. All right. Nico Glock. Oh my God. Hail to you again, my Wolf brother. This is for $10. And Zaxx, it is really great to have you back because I only have to do 3 things. Says Salty, your shows are awesome. Oh my God. Thank you. It's this panel. It's Max. It is Purple. It is Zaxx. It is Nathan. And it is Gray. And I love having Gray on. I am so blessed to have these people to work with me that they agreed to, and they show up every week. And you guys, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, Max, Purple, Nathan, Zaxx, Gray, thank you. You make this so much fun, and the chat sees it. And again, just thank you very much. Nico Glock says, "Hail, Wolf brothers and sisters." Well, hail to you, my Wolf brother. Let's reach into the bag of tricks and see what we're going to come up with. Here we go. I just think that's a great moment from the Hobbit movies. I really do. I think that whole
That is
battle
good.
scene is just freaking amazing. I know, Purple, you have so much love for these movies, and I do too. And I love the singing in these movies so much. I really, really do.
I do. I don't think they are perfect movies, and as you said correctly earlier, they should have just been 2. But there is just something about them that the heart was there, if not the execution.
Yeah, I mean, and then cinematically, again, I say this every show, but it's true. Go check out the 1977 Rankin and Bass The Hobbit. It is freaking genius. Orson Bean voices Bilbo. You have John Huston or Huston. It depends on how much I'm drinking, how it's pronounced. And does a fantastic Gandalf. One thing you will see about it is that, especially if you get a DVD player that upscales, it is in the 3:4 old television aspect ratio, but it is just, it's amazing, and it's just a beautiful story. The other element to that is the music, and that is done by a folk singer. If I'm not wrong, Zaxx, it's a Canadian folk singer by the name of Glenn Yarborough. And the songs in it are pretty damn amazing. It's a 70s love fest with Tolkien without nudity gray. So it's a great animated version of the show.
Did somebody say nudity?
I was waiting. You delivered your line perfectly.
I just got it back, sorry.
Oh my!
It was summoned.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Beetlejuice.
Gray
Beetlejuice,
comes in. I'm ready for my
very-
close-up, Mr. DeVille.
Sorry, I'm looking through the chat real quick because I wanted to catch up with this. So, yeah, I got to tell you, we've been going about 3 hours, and I think maybe is there anything else on that tear sheet that you all wanted to cover, or shall we just call this a good show and walk out with pretty good evening. What do you guys think?
We just had another super chat drop in.
Well, that answers that question right there. Oh no. Oh my God, you guys. All right, here we go. Hooey boy, turnabout is indeed fair play. This is from Prophet of the Dragon, who was my friend before this, and he's my YouTuber. He and another YouTuber, the Thad That Shouldn't Be, has a channel called Unbearable 73. He's doing a bang on job of putting out good content and doing the grind that we all have to do on YouTube. Prophet and Unbearable 73, their video will be dropping, if not tomorrow, then Thursday. So another set of Wheel of Time perspectives. So he wants to know, he says, Salty for $5, Leandrin, Eladia, or Savannah? Dude, it's Leandrin. I mean, like, just, it is what it is. It's Leandrin. So that's all I'm going to say about that, Prophet. And judge me all you want. You guys, the Wheel of Time, you guys tell me what you think about that. But yeah, I think, I can't say that on YouTube. Yes, we'll just say Leandrin and in a particular way of coitus. We'll just say that. So, all right. You learn something new every day when you come to this show, you guys. I am going to bounce through this real
It's an education.
It is an
Gonna need a
education.
shower.
Yeah. Well, Gray is. He's got to wash the chunks of dinklage off of him. But man, you started this. I'm just keeping it running. Be careful what you wish for. I've been really well behaved. You guys in chat have no idea. I've actually been really civilized on these streams, and there's a reason for that, because I like my channel, but also because, you know, once we get into hour 3, I can, you know, unbutton the shirt, loosen the tie a little bit, and go forward. So we have touched on this subject a little bit in the past, but this article dropped just this week again. And Max, you were the first one that brought this to my attention a couple of weeks ago, and it had to do with how they're changing action figures and how, especially, they're removing firearms, they're removing things that they consider problematic because, well, I don't know, maybe there's like a great agenda or narrative going on out there, but to change these things. But for those of you who collect things, McFarlane has some pretty cool stuff out there, especially at the, I would say, the gold level of pricing, in my opinion. So Max, what's your kind of take on this? What are you seeing? Is this occurring just with the mass marketing of action figures, or are you seeing changes being made to statues and other collectible figures as well?
I can't say. I mean, definitely in the statue game is much more. They can go pretty far with some of the stuff that they do, because a lot of them are licensed by custom artists and custom designers who can 3D print a lot of these designs, but they sell them at a higher price, you know, for like elite level collectors and stuff, which I would never get my hands on. But for like Sideshow, which is a very well-known statue distributor, and also they distribute the Hot Toys, which is Gary and Az's big thing. They have a lot of really cool 1/6 scale figures, 1/10 scale figures. Yeah, we are seeing a very large scale mass exodus of firearms, but weapons are still in packs of these action figures. So you're still very able to kill someone with a sword, you know, as opposed to a firearm. Even in the newest Punisher comic, you know, he's seen wielding swords, which, you know, he still does some pretty significant damage, kills a lot of people with those things. But yeah, I don't know if they're if there's any allegory towards firearms and what that looks like for people owning firearms or something. But it does seem odd when literally every G.I. Joe action figure I ever had as a kid came with like 30 guns and then the one guy, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it is a bit odd.
It was the same thing in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, every kid like walked around with like pop guns, you know, cap guns. I mean, I had a BB gun by the time I was 8. I got my first rifle when I was 12. It was in my room, mounted over my bed. I had my own ammunition. We had hunter safety class in the 3rd grade. It was mandatory. And then all of this, it just kind of blows my mind. It's like, it's a little plastic, M4 or, 45 or whatever it is. Somehow by taking this away, it's obviously pushing some type of agenda somewhere. And I just think it's absolute lunacy and idiocy.
Yes. And am I correct in guessing that this isn't because of safety concerns, which they've had in the past? We've had toys that fire and, kids can swallow small parts. This is literally because they are guns and they don't want kids to be playing with toys that have guns anymore.
From my understanding, yes. It doesn't seem to be much of an issue of safety, but much more of an issue of, like ideology, I believe.
Yes. So. Yeah.
Which you would think safety would be paramount over ideology, but like,
no.
Like, no.
In a sane world, yes. But,
I think
but we're in clown world.
I know. I was just gonna say, Max, I think you just canceled yourself. There you go with that toxic statement of common sense and rationality.
Salty.
Yeah,
salty.
I mean,
I'm just waiting for figures with big old. I'm waiting for GI Joe figures with big old phrasing on the packaging saying now without toxic masculinity.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Gray?
Sorry, I just got distracted by the length of Peacemaker's sword. Ladies.
Yeah, that's not the Dinklage edition.
Yeah.
That's more of the Chris Rock edition.
That's so weird, isn't it? Seeing him with a sword, though, just to say that. That just looks completely off, Max. What do you think?
I'm guessing this was a packaging error. This is what Wheel of Time Season 2 is going to look like with the space helmet. Because why not? I mean, it's absolute lunacy. It's just absolute lunacy. Do you know how many GI Joes I had back in the 70s? And these were the 12-inch ones. They were pretty rough looking, but all of them had the M16. They had the Colt 45. They had the different Vietnam era camouflage, jungle, tiger stripe, all that stuff. The thing about it is that the fact that toys had those things didn't cause anything. Didn't make bad things happen in the world. Not once. But that's another show, and go ahead, Max.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, I think that's what a lot of video game, aficionados are seeing as well. It's like they're being called like psychopathic killers because they play video games. I don't necessarily play video games, but I would feel awful if someone was calling me, oh, well, you're going to turn into a serial killer because you play video games. It's like, I think that's what they're trying to say with these action figures. And apparently, if that's the case, then you guys better watch out because, look at what I got behind me.
This is not the first time we've heard this bullshit, though.
Yeah,
they check it out. This is how wackadoodle nut job crazy this is. So they used to show unedited cartoons, Looney Tunes from Warner Brothers, where you had characters like Yosemite Sam, who had his 6-shooters. You had sometimes you had other characters running with animated shotguns like Elmer Fudd. Well, somebody in their infinite wisdom in the early 90s said that this was a problem and that showing children firearms was going to harm the development and cause violence. These are Bugs Bunny cartoons. So you know what they did? They edited them out. It didn't change anything. As a matter of fact, really bad things happened despite that woke, idiotic finding fault with something change. Now here we are. Now we're going to take the plastic AK-47 out of somebody's hands, and it's like, so what exactly does that accomplish? All I know is I live in a state that has probably the highest per capita 2A ownership maybe in the country. You don't see a lot of that stuff going around because a 2A society is a polite society, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So
Yes, and coming from the absolute flip side, obviously in the UK we don't have access and we're not allowed to have, you know, firearms at home, but there's still plenty of violent crime. It's funny enough, you know, not having access to it doesn't really make any difference.
I've noticed that. I've also noticed in Sweden and Finland.
Yep.
Interesting. I don't know about this stuff. I mean, it's you know, I guess the takeaway from this, what we got, Michael Salas says, I'm triggered now. I went to Walmart and all I could find of the McFarlane figures was seven with 7 cyborgs and 3 awful Wonder Woman figures. Oh, Michael.
Nightmare.
Woo!
So you're saying that McFarlane was right in that female figures don't sell as well as male figures?
Yeah, we'll see how that Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 flies off the shelf.
Probably faster
keeping
than
her-
this Johnny
Oh
Depp.
God, I almost just did it. I was going to say, I bet you that'll shit the bed too. But McFarlane
Well.
said we've done hundreds of licenses over the years, and the people who own the brands and the IP, the intellectual properties, they are the boss, and they basically dictate to us, not the other way around. So if we say, "Hey, we want to make this character," and they say, "Nope, we don't ever want that character made," you never get to make it. It's just that simple. I don't know this character Grifter. I mean, that kind of sounds like what most people call us, but Max, great. Who is this guy?
I don't know much about him, but he almost kind of looks like a Rob Liefeld character, or like a discount Deadpool. I know that he is part of like kind of the like in the Bat realm. Like I know that he's fought against or with Batman before. I know, take my comic card or comic book nerd card right now. But yeah, I'm always, you know, I'll be very honest with people when I do know a character and I don't know a character. Unfortunately, I've seen him in books before, but I don't know him well. Gray, do you know him at all better than I do?
I think he comes from the image ones, is it Wildstorm?
Oh,
Max?
okay.
So, but when
Right,
they
yep.
incorporated those characters into the DC universe. So yeah, but I don't know him very well either because of that.
So it probably was Rob Liefeld then, if it was
Yeah,
Image during
yeah.
that period of time, I think.
It's just
Zaxx.
interesting. Yeah, I figured Zaxx. It's all the MSG from KFC messing with his brain.
Me
So
too, me
McFarlane,
too.
yeah. So McFarlane continued. So sometimes
Let's get working on it.
McFarlane continued. Sorry, I'm not. So sometimes things come from higher up that are just given to us, and we have to abide. And I long ago stopped worrying about whether I agree with them, because when you are dealing with big billion-dollar companies and they made their decisions, they assume they're doing it for the betterment of those brands and their company and their strength above all else. Have they made a decision about guns and action figures? Uh-huh. Are we abiding by it? Uh-huh. Did they ask my opinion? Nope. Would I have done it otherwise? Of course. What are you talking about, right? Now we've got Hush. That's a pretty good looking Hush.
That's a pretty good one.
Now, in your opinion, should Hush have a firearm? I know it's a deep question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never really wanted a Hush figure. I
Yeah.
love the Hush storyline, but I've never said like, oh,
Mhm.
Hush would be a great addition to my collection. I guess I'm not sure. But yeah, if there's one thing you can always count on, it's that the McFarlane figures, for the most part, always tend to
Yeah.
be high quality, very
Yeah.
well produced figures. I mean, they always look
Mhm.
great. They're always well made. I think there were a few Warhammer figures because there's a 6-inch or 7-inch Space Marine figure that I know some of them had come in like warped because of the some of like the plastic had overheated or something. But for the most part, like on a grand scale, I'd say like a good 90 something % of his figures are always very high class. So yeah, but as far as the characters, it's really who sells them, and that's the
Mhm.
that's the ticket.
I just want to shout out, it's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs. She is a Wolf Pack member. She doesn't like when I call her Wolf Sister. So we hope you're feeling better. Thanks for popping in, though. It's great to see you. This is interesting. And not for the first time and not for the last time, the Thad That Shouldn't Be, who has a YouTube channel called Unbearable73, says that all they are doing is the same thing they did with Comicsgate. That was going through my mind as well. And Gamerbait, let's be honest about it. Thanks to 3D printers, they will just create crowd-funded action figures production. It's true, and we're seeing that happen. We are. I know that Ethan Van Sciver is doing some pretty remarkable things with Cyberfrog. I cannot believe how damn good those action figures are. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah.
Yes, and the one thing I have noticed with more modern action figures is how few accessories we get nowadays. Whereas, back in the 80s, we had boxes full of little, toys
Yeah.
and stuffs or guns or whatever, this figure was. But now you barely get anything with them.
Yeah, I remember the Star Wars figures that came out in the first cycle from the original
Mhm.
Star Wars movie in '77, and you could take off Han Solo's pistol belt and his little, his laser pistol, which was uniquely Han, and it's those were the things that really made it. Now, was the articulation nearly as good as what you're seeing with McFarlane? No, but it's nice to get loot. It's nice to be accessorize your action figure. Now, you guys, Max, Gray, has people who collect figures, and I know Max in particular. Is that the juice for you? I mean, do you like having that ability? I see a lot of figures where you can change the head, the face, you can change the hands to different grips, different weapons, whether it be, katana or a firearm. Is that part of the juice for you in collecting, or do you prefer something that's a more static model or representation?
I think so personally. I mean, I think that the more versatility you have with a figure, the more dynamic that figure is, and the better he or she looks on your shelf. A lot of these statues come with switch outs. So, like for Thor, instead of holding Mjolnir, maybe he's holding what his other hammer, and I'm blanking on the name right now, and then Stormbreaker, thank you, or his axe, Yarnarborn, or something like that. For Wolverine, you can have a switch out with a mask or unmasked. Some Wolverine statues have him with the bone claws, like before, like pre-Weapon X, So you're pretty much, when you buy the one statue or one figure with the switch outs, you're kind of almost getting two statues because you can display them with any one of these looks. And so that's the kind of novelty and why a lot of people would pay higher prices for figures with a lot of different switch outs or a lot of different weapons. Especially my Punisher that I have on this side. He comes with two Uzis that he can hold. He comes with a bag of rifles that he can hold. He comes with a Mark 19, gigantic, gun, and all these different switch outs make him look different with each way he's holding them. So I think you kind of buy into almost different statues with these switch outs, and that's what makes them pretty cool to display.
I've got a great I bought a couple of really great Witcher action figures, and I've got a Geralt that's a 12-inch where you can switch out everything. It's and change the weapons and change the loadout, and the same thing with Suri, and God, I'm also looking. I got these great Dune action figures, which were not out there for a long time. It's the same thing. You can put a knife, or you can put another thing in there. You can put a helmet. You can do all these things, and it's like, I love that. And I remember what it was when you got the Lord of the Rings action figures, which weren't very well mass marketed, but especially the ones from the Fellowship of the Ring with Aragorn, where you can have him holding a torch, you can have him holding a sword, you can put a backpack on him, you can put his cloak, and it's like, I think that stuff is cool. I love having accessories to go with it.
Hey, do you guys remember when they used to have toys that if you run them under cold water, they would change color?
Yes, and And ones that used to have holograms, if you'd rub
Yes.
the chest,
Yeah.
so you get a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Do I have to finish that
And
joke or
Autobots
what?
and Decepticons.
Do it.
Go ahead, Zaxx.
Oh, I was gonna say. I
catalog.
mean, we can just race swap everyone now.
True.
What am I cold water? Right? Captain Falcon.
Yeah. Well, you can wash him off like Trudeau. You know, wash
What
that.
does
face.
what does
off.
Punisher come with now, Max? The new Punisher figure? Is it a hairdryer and a book on feminism?
Anthropology.
No.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
feminine.
apology.
It's actually feminine napkins. Get it right.
Insane. Oh my God.
So McFarlane goes on to say that he specifically brought up the Punisher, given Marvel Comics also appears to be embracing this agenda, as the most recent Punisher series from writer Jason Aaron sees Frank Castle become the leader of the Hand, get an entirely new symbol, and eschew firearms in favor of swords. Now, Max, I thought I saw you do a review on that change, and I thought you saw it somewhat favorably.
Yeah, so they do tend to here's the book right here. For a lot of the issue, they do have him with his swords, especially in the first few panels. But there is a fight scene that's pretty significant. I mean, like, so this is a nice page layout, but he does have the swords in this one. But there's a great action scene towards the back here where he is using every form of weapon he can possibly. He's got like a sawed-off shotgun in this bottom panel here. So he does use his firearms during this fight scene against the Hand.
Okay.
If you guys can wait, it's this one that he's just blowing some of these guys out of the water with his probably Springfield 1911s, if I'm not mistaken, because I think Punisher is a 45 caliber man.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do have him with both. They have him with his swords and they have him with his firearms. I'm not sure how they're going to portray the rest of this story. I've heard good things and bad things about how people have been responding to this story. But yeah, but for the most part, I think it was good. It was better than I expected. I'll say that.
I
There's
remember
still some things, but yeah.
I remember your enthusiasm because I was concerned. I mean, especially with the changing of the symbol. And let's be honest, the reason for changing of the symbol, in my opinion, was because a certain, what do I want to say? A certain individual that likes to play golf in Florida and isn't popular with The View. A lot of his followers who took that symbol. Also, a lot of people in law enforcement probably took that symbol, and I'm sure. Max, I'm sure a lot of people in the military did as well. And I don't know. I don't like this new symbol. I don't. I mean, I just, the Punisher has been the Punisher. And I remember picking up Punisher comics in the 80s and going, dude, that guy's cool. Like, it's the Punisher. That's his logo. It's like changing Superman's S. Now, am I being unfair with that? You guys are the comics experts. I am merely some chimp with a mic. What do you guys think?
You're right. It looks stupid. That's my take. It looks absolutely stupid.
I'll say that this isn't a Punisher hoodie. This is a military hoodie. This is our unit. You know what I mean? Like that's on our unit hoodies that we just had the Punisher logo on there. I wasn't law enforcement. I was Marine Corps. So it's everywhere, and I think a lot of people are putting too much weight in the fact that people think that the Punisher logo. Or those who are complaining about the Punisher logo think that everyone knows who the Punisher is, when that's not the case. I think a lot of military and law enforcement just think the logo looks cool. This one, however, looks very lazy and contrived.
Imagine that current year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like it's Yosemite Sam mustache upside down on his forehead.
Yep. That's true, huh?
Oh, Spawn. Those are some gorgeous action figures.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the biggest Spawn guy. I'm not. I mean, I just I I don't know.
Gray does some great Spawn comic book reviews because McFarlane's been putting out fire Spawn issues lately, and Gray covers those a lot. He does a really good job.
You know, I just remember Spawn when it first came out, and it was just not my thing. But looking at those action figures, Gray, I will check out your reviews. So no disrespect to you guys. So, oh, thanks so much for putting this up, Zaxx. You're a real great guy. Oh God. So this is from, God damn it, Zaxx. Go back to KFC. So Kulinder Bard, a longtime friend of this channel, hail to you, says, I want a Brandon action figure with diapers. Damn it, Zaxx. With diapers, ice cream, and dentures. Some accessories not included include the brain. And hope sold separately.
This isn't supposed to be a political channel, Salty. What are you doing?
Apparently letting the man who let Paramount nuke my channel run my chat.
You know what's interesting about this figure is that it initially came with a laptop, but it was lost in production. So I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, and when you buy that action figure, you get the son who is yes. Let's just leave it right there.
The son is like in
Lines
the
of cocaine.
Stop
yeah.
talking. Okay, this is fascinating. And I've been thinking about this, but I have this. So this is from Doviande Se Tovia Sagain, says, I would love to see different tiers with this channel membership. Wouldn't mind showing a little more support each month. You deserve it, Corey. You're very kind. Right now, my channel memberships are $2.99 a month, and because I don't know what I'm doing. All right, let's just be honest about it. But I thought that was fair because it really does help out. But one thing that I found, because I'm always trying new things, and Zaxx is always giving me ideas that I end up doing all the work on, and then he goes, isn't that cool? Is to create another tier where every month I essentially get to spotlight channel members like we did with Wheel of Time and have you guys come on my videos and give your perspectives. There are so many authors I want to talk about with Gray and with Max and with Purple and maybe Zaxx if he's not, constantly doing what he does to me. I would love to have you guys come on and talk about other authors we don't talk about, like Terry Brooks, Piers Anthony, Jack Chalker, other fantasy genre stuff that I don't even know about. I just picked up a bunch of Elric paperbacks at a tiny little used bookstore in a tiny little one-horse Texas town, and I asked the guy how much he wanted for him. He said 50 cents. And I mean, there are so many books and fantasy series that I would love to get people's perspectives on. In addition, talk about comic books. I think it would be really cool to talk about how people got into their fandoms. So hail to you, Toviende Se Tovia Sagain. I think it's a great idea. I just, this is all a big change for me, and I don't want to get too big for my britches, if that makes any sense.
And welcome to the Brotherhood, Daniel.
Yes, welcome.
Daniel has joined the Brotherhood. Daniel, hail to you, my new wolf brother. That is absolutely fantastic. You guys are absolutely amazing. Wait a minute, Daniel. Just because you're my new wolf brother, I'm going to spotlight this for you, and you are going to get a video for it. How about we get a Jada Smith Chia pet instead? You don't need to rub those. You are savage. You are savage.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. I love it.
And you know what? I didn't do a video on this, and I'm just that was brilliant. I'm going to give you this video for that.
So many comments.
We travel light. That is handsome walk.
Well, there we go. You guys, we have had an absolutely amazing show. I was going to say killer show, but who knows if Mama Susan's going to have a problem with that. So you guys, this has been a lot of fun tonight. I really do appreciate it. Let's go around the horn. Let's start with Gray. Shout out your channel. What are you going to be doing this week? Where can we see you again?
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Salty. It's been great with a great panel and an amazing chat as usual. Some killer comments in there, some great jokes, and then Zaxx. So yeah, I had a great time. I've got a little channel called Wakizashi's Teahouse, something like that, and I review comic books. Where actually recently I managed to get some physical copies for the first time in over a year.
Sweet.
I got a Gunslinger
Nice.
Spawn, I
Oh.
got a King Spawn, and the Scorched issue 1. Just let me move my thumb. I like this one for some reason. Can you see why? Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Before I finish, guys, can I just a very, very quick quote from Tolkien?
Please,
Max.
please.
What you were reading before. Yeah, I love that quote. And people trying to find like what was he talking about? You know, why was he writing the story? And basically, he says it himself in like one sentence. It's really easy. Let me just read it. Here we go. The prime motive was the desire of a tale teller to try his hand at a really long story that would hold the attention of readers, amuse them, delight them, and at times maybe excite them or deeply move them. That's it.
Beautiful.
Sums it up.
Well done.
gorgeous.
Well done.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Salty.
Anytime, Gray. It's so great having you here. You're like a long lost brother that comes on the show. It's always great to have you. There's always an open invitation. Max, what's going on with you, sir?
Well, I'll be at WonderCon this Friday. So if you guys are in Southern California and are going to be at WonderCon, come say hi. We'll grab a drink. We'll hang out. And maybe we'll even get into the Lord of the Rings OneRing.net panel. Yeah, so that's the plan. I plan on reporting back next Tuesday with word from the Riddermark, and we shall receive it then. But yeah, I'm hoping to get in and looking forward to either making a video on it or just talking about it live, which I'll probably most likely end up doing the latter, because that video would be like an hour long or something. So,
Brother,
I
if you
desperately want to see Max lowering himself in from the ceiling. Like,
oh no.
Do it.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure whatever rope is holding me up would break. I'm not a light person.
Max, you just
yeah.
need to get a pink wig like Heel versus Babyface, and they'll just say you're a VIP and say they're misgendering you and wander in. Nobody'll give you a hard time at all. I'm sure you'll just fit right in. So
Absolutely, my physique screams female college athlete. So
You can put a name tag that says Mr. Leah Thomas.
yeah, there you go. So they are requiring masks. So maybe I could have like a
Jesus.
mask that might say like NCAA or something. I don't know, but yeah. So there are a lot of different things I could do, but unfortunately, I think I'll take the tame road and I'll just go as me. I'll wear the same black shirt and backwards hat. So I'll stick out like a sore thumb, but should be fun. So I'm excited to go. Like I said, I'm hoping to get into the panel. I think it's like later on in the evening. So my plan is to get to the con early, walk through the con, meet people, maybe buy some books. Who knows? And then have some lunch. And then by the time I get back, get in line to go into the Lord of the Rings panel, if there is a line. And that's the other thing that I'm interested. It's like, I wonder who is going to go, because we could get a lot of people that are there to discourage it, or there could be a lot of people that want to promote it. So I'm actually more intrigued to see who's going than the actual panel itself.
Agreed. And if you find yourself with a bunch of people in black bloc that are carrying torches, maybe go across the street and get a beer. So we got Fat Steven Seagal, the man, the myth, the legend. Hail to you, Fat Steven. Thank you for dropping by the chat. He gives us $2 Canadian, says, nobody takes my Peter Pan from the rafters idea. That one's directed at you, Max. I think Fat Steven Seagal has a trademark on that and some very interesting lawyers. This one is for you, Fat Steven.
Not a lot. Go hit him!
Oh, to be in Rohan. Hail to you, Fat Steven. Thank you so much for that super chat. It's great to see you, brother. Nathan What's going on, Amanda Manethrin? Tell us about your channel, where people can find you.
Oh, channel name is Man of Manethrin. I put a video out every now and again. Not terribly often, but most of the time you can just find me here every other Tuesday on the live stream. If there's some space on the panel for me, then Corey's usually gracious enough to allow that to happen so I can put in my smart ass quips every now and again.
I'm the lucky one. Nathan, you are fantastic. Thank you for always coming on when you can.
It's a good time. I enjoy it. I enjoy the chat. I enjoy the panel. It's always a lot of fun. So, but yeah, my channel's the Man of Manethrin, and you can see a video drop every blue moon over there.
And hail to Doviande Se Tovia Seguin, says he just subscribed to you, Purple. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
She has awesome coffee mugs too. They're great. Just gonna say that. We also the Thad that shouldn't be, before we go to Purple, says MVP, just dye your beard pink. They'll be asking for your autograph as you walk around.
You know what? Your sound logic, that Tad. You know, I can't deny it. If I didn't have a mask, maybe I'd do it for the meme, for the laughs. But unfortunately, I gotta wear a mask, and fortunately, I gotta wear a mask so I don't dye my beard pink. So,
it's crazy being in Texas. I gotta wear a mask. I'm like, are you sandblasting? I mean, are you performing open heart surgery?
Right?
Oops, I can't say that. Purple, tell us about what you got going on with you. How are you doing?
Oh, guys, thank you so much for today. I had an absolute blast, as always, getting to hang out with you. So thank you. Really appreciate it. Yep, you can find me on Rise and Shine with Purple Valkyrie. Tomorrow is a little bit up in the air. I usually do a live stream, but I've actually got a meeting at the same time. So if I do a live stream, it might be a little bit later, or it might be a short video, and it's probably, God help me, going to be on a Moon Night.
Oh no! Oh, God help you, Purple, for real.
That's out.
But
That comes out.
I also do have something exciting happening on the weekend. I'm going to a convention as well, and I'm going to go meet Kevin Conroy.
Whoa!
So really looking forward to that.
Whoa!
That's cool. Wait, can I come to your con? That sounds way
know.
more fun. Why?
Yes.
Why do I have to go?
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous over here in Japan.
That's amazing.
Which con was that you were going to, Max? The intersectional con in Southern California?
That's exactly what it is, unfortunately. But I'll hey, but to be fair, Purple's taken one for the team by watching Moon Knight. I'll take one for the team to go to WonderCon. But at least Purple's getting rewarded with Kevin Conroy. That is so cool. That's very awesome.
That's amazing.
That is awesome. Cannot wait.
I hope he gets something signed, and I bet you he doesn't charge $100 like Simu Lu does to autograph.
That was going to be my question.
He doesn't. He's actually quite reasonable. I think he's £40. I believe his autograph is. It's pretty good.
That's really good. Go ahead, Max. Sorry.
Yes, Simu Lu was $150 per autograph, and then $150 per picture. So 300 if you want a picture and autograph.
Or you could spend $100 and go on eBay and get all of the the Legends of Kung Fu Omnibus 1 and 2.
Master of Kung Fu. Yeah.
Thank you.
Like,
I was close.
Like 8 of these.
Yeah.
8
That's
of these.
true.
Come on.
I know, that's like 5 really big bottles of Maker's Mark bourbon. Not that that's how I judge things from an economic perspective, but I'm just saying. So.
I'd say that's a fine yardstick to use, to be honest.
You know, it's funny because I will actually have a Kevin at my con as well, but it's going to be Kevin Smith. He's speaking at one of the panels. So, so it's the exact opposite. What's up?
What a nightmare.
He-Man?
You know what?
Or whatever.
Let me check. I would have to double check, but I'll let you
Max,
guys start finishing.
Are you
out.
gonna?
I don't want to take any more time.
Are you gonna see Kevin Smith?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you go, I want you to record him crying so that we can show it on the show, because I would love to have a requestable super chat video of Kevin Smith crying on demand. I think that it would just be great. So
I was gonna say, if I have to go through one awful panel, I really don't want to have to go through another.
Yes.
Um,
Pick your battles.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
think I'll choose the Lord of the Rings because and that's the unfortunate thing. I loved Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed his stuff. Like he was a super fan like us,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't seem that way anymore.
Yes, that's what we thought.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Clerks came out, it was I want to say 93, 94, and I was watching it on VHS
Yeah.
and I was blown away because there was really nothing that had been come out for Gen X at that time. I mean, I was 23, and we didn't have a voice, I mean, they didn't know how to market to us because we thought everybody was full of shit. And as it turns out, my generation was right, but that's probably another story. So let's move on.
It's the problem of starting to believe your own press.
It's true. Zaxx, the man, the myth, the legend, the Canadian. Shut yourself up, brother.
Yeah, I'm traveling right now. I'm staying with family, so I'm not as active as I otherwise would be. Most of the stuff I'm putting out right now on my channel is stuff that I don't have to voice over because when I try to do some voiceover, I get, who the fuck are you talking to? Here. So trying to avoid that as much as possible. And yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to keep Corey busy, coming up with ideas for work that he can do. And so we can all appreciate that. But I do want to shout out Corey and the member stuff because if you're not on Twitter, I know Twitter sucks, but if you can get on there and you can message myself or Corey, we can get you into the group chat. And then for projects that he's working on with the members, that way you can give him feedback and he can include you in these videos, which he's putting a ton of work into, which even though he does put himself over all the time, he still undersells the work he does in those. People don't get how much time he puts into those videos, which is why they're so good.
Thank you.
I don't put anywhere near that time into anything I do.
True.
So I really do appreciate people who do. Yeah, thanks for having me on again this week, and should be back to normal next week.
Cheers.
Amen.
No, dude, I'm glad you're in BC, and I miss it out there quite a bit. So that's all I'm going to say.
Oh man, it's so nice out here. Ridiculous.
I know. It's in my blood, and it is what it is. But Doviende say Tovia Seguin reached out to me on one of the interview videos that I did, and he's not on social media, and said, I want to do your thing, but I'm not going to get on that whack job Twitter stuff. So I gave them the channel email, which is all lowercase, salty, Salish, C, that's the letter C, @gmail.com. If you don't want to get into the big tech algorithm hellhole that is Twitter, just send me an email. I'm going to work with Tovia. We're going to meet on Thursday, and I'm making time just for him as a channel member so that we can record at his convenience, because I think it's really important to let people share their perspectives on Wheel of Time. And I'm going to ruin my own next cycle, but the next cycle is talking about Tolkien. So people that want to get in on that one, we're going to talk about Tolkien. I'm going to ask 5 blind questions to everyone. No one's not going to know what they are, and we're just going to roll with it, and we'll see what we get. So hail to everyone. I just want to say that, and I probably should have started this early. I may be on maybe doing a live stream tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure. I will let people know on Twitter and also on my community page within Twitter. There's a good chance I may end up back on Nerdporial Lifeform maybe this Saturday. We'll see how that goes. I'm everywhere. Anyone who's on this panel, you guys want to live stream with me, you guys want to chill and talk about stuff, I'm open to it as well. I want to acknowledge the chat. Thank you. You guys, another night of just crushing it. This has been so much fun. You have made me laugh so hard. And not just me, but Gray, Max, Purple, and Zaxx. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. I should have started this before we end this chat, but I want to express some gratitude. We live in a world where there doesn't seem to be a lot of positive things, but I just want to say that I have gratitude, and this is not going to be about fantasy stuff, but I'm really grateful to have a dog. I'm really grateful to have a dog that gets me out of my head, that makes me go outside, be outside, makes me drag his 80-pound frisbee obsessed ass all over the dog park for 2 hours to get me away from doom scrolling and overthinking things. So that's what I'm grateful for. Gray, what are you grateful for, brother?
Wow, you sprung that one on me there, Salty. I was just like drifting off to you, waxing lyrically. That's so cool. I was thinking about getting a dog myself. You've sold me, mate. You've sold me.
Well, you didn't do so well with Peter Dinklage, so I might get a plane first.
I'm grateful for my health at the moment because I'm getting
Cheers for
old.
that. There's a lot of that going around. Max, what are you grateful for, brother?
I am grateful for honestly these conversations. Like you said, Salty, your dog tends to kind of get you out of your own head, and you get to go out and be with him. These, there are days where I don't even feel like getting up in the morning, and then I come on a stream like this, and we start talking, and I'm like, this is so fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like to be like very frank.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun, and I think I take it for granted much too often, where I think, there's a societal view of what your friend group should look like, or how how you should spend your weekends. But doing this stuff with you guys really has been a very great blessing, and I'm very grateful for it.
Right back at you. I mean, honestly, when I said you guys make my week, these Tuesday nights make my week, they really do. I'm honored that you guys participate in this, so thank you for that, Max. Nathan, what are you grateful for? I saw before we started the show, I actually met Nathan's wife and one of his daughters. They were we were chatting a little bit, and so
Nice.
kind of very, very cool kids. His daughter was wearing a Rolling Stones t-shirt. That's how cool of a dad Nathan is. Nathan, what are you grateful for, brother?
It's actually the dentist's t-shirt that's riffing on the Rolling Stones logo, but
Nice.
that's okay. I'm thankful. Now, speaking of family, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for these chats and these opportunities to get together. And I'm thankful for original IPs that I can fall back on to separate me from the morass of stupidity that we get together for and flame on. So,
Amen.
but it's just it's all a great release, and I'm thankful for those.
Amen. They can't take that away from us. Purple, what about you?
I am thankful for friends, new friends, old friends, friends that I've met, and people that we get to talk to every day, people that we see in the chats. And we are incredibly lucky to get to do this. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And yes, dogs are awesome. Mine is lying next to my leg at the moment.
How big is it? How big is your dog?
It's a pug. So about the size of a loaf of bread.
So we know who runs your life. That basically that's
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, Zaxx, what about you, brother?
Definitely grateful for family of all kinds. The blood kind, the online kind, the work kind, all of them. So yeah, it's been a week to think about that and to appreciate it for me. So yeah, definitely family.
Amen to that, especially with what I know you're doing in BC. So hail to you. Hail again to the chat. I am incredibly grateful for your friendship, for your generosity, for your thumbs up, for your likes, for you showing up for premieres. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I look forward to working and hearing your voices and helping give you a voice to things that you love and you care about, whether it's Wheel of Time, Tolkien, or any other fantasy property. There's a certain time, in my opinion, where we as creators need to give back to those people who have helped us get to, I mean, in my case, I never thought I'd be at 1,860 subscribers. I just blows my mind. And that's all because of you guys. So hail to you all. Have a great rest of the week. I will see you around on a variety of shows, probably in the chat, raising hell, just like I do with Max. So you all have a great rest of the week. I'm going to go ahead and play the outro, and we will see you soon. Good night.
Good night.